A new study ranks America's most fun states.
Personal finance website Wallet Hub evaluating 50 states across two categories, entertainment and recreation and nightlife, to rank how fun each state is. The company using 26 key indicators of a jolly good time, including most national parks, restaurants, golf courses, and country clubs per capita, also shoreline mileage and beach quality. California ranked the most fun, followed by Florida, New York, and Washington State, with Colorado rounding out the top 5. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
The Pacific nation of Samoa is banning the Elton John biopic Rocket Man because of its depictions of homosexuality. About 97% of people in Samoa identify as Christian, and the society is generally considered conservative and traditional. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data2Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic and Pika's best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at fhpguam.com.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero is, in a recent interview with the Associated Press, said that she is seeking to recruit a doctor to perform abortions on Guam. Jane Flores, the director of the Bureau of Women's Affairs at the governor's office, said she was tasked with that effort to ensure women on Guam have a choice. She said the effort is part of a larger plan to promote responsible sex. Dr. William Freeman was the last of 2 doctors who performed abortions on Guam. He retired in 2018, and no other physician on island currently performs abortions. Flores said we need to have someone who can do the procedure in cases of rape or incest. The other side of that coin, she said, is that they're working on a campaign for responsible sex. The Archdiocese of Agana, however, has expressed some concerns. In a statement, the Archdiocese appealed to the governor and the Adelup team to respect life from conception. Dr. Tom Shea said he would like to see Adelup working to recruit other doctors instead, those who do procedures that will help save lives, like pediatric surgeons or interventional cardiologists. The Department of Corrections is woefully understaffed, according to Alan Borja, the warden of the adult correctional facility in Manilao. During testimony at DOC's budget hearing yesterday morning, he said the perimeter of the prison is vulnerable and we don't have adequate staff to manage it. The Manilao prison houses 503 inmates and detainees. Another 187 are jailed in the Agana detention facility. Borja said that's really overpopulated. Right now, only 70 officers are available on any given day to cover both facilities, while standard operating procedure calls for 108 officers to be on duty. Borja also pointed out that the prison's Central Processing Center is handling 12 to 15 arrests every day, a number that has doubled in the past 10 years. He asked lawmakers for support before something really grave happens at the prison. DOC Director Samantha Brennan told members of the committee yesterday that DOC's budget request is $24.4 million, about $42 million less than this year's appropriation. Appropriations Committee Chairman Senator Josanne Augustine said that her request should be back at $26 million, if not more, and he asked the director to provide the committee with a supplemental appropriation request to cover the need for more corrections officers. We'll have more news after this.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Miles sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstake starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 6 a.m. A number of elected officials are traveling off island this week. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero is in Vail, Colorado, attending the annual Western Governors Association meeting. From there, she'll head on to Fort Bliss in Texas to visit Guam National Guard soldiers deployed there. Communications Director Janela Carrera said that the governor is scheduled to return next week. Meanwhile, Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes and Senators Kelly Marsh, Clint Rigel, and Tello Taitigui left on Sunday for Taiwan. They'll be back on Friday. They were invited by the Taiwan Foreign Affairs Department. The Taiwanese government is covering the cost of the trip for Barnes, Rigel, and Taitigui, according to a news release from the Speaker's office. Senator Marsh, however, paid her own airfare with personal funds, according to a statement from her office. The U.S. federal government has a new policy encouraging U.S. government officials to travel to Taiwan in order to strengthen relations between the U.S. and Taiwan, according to a news release issued by the Speaker's office. Additionally, Guam holds a unique sister city relationship with Taipei, the capital of Taiwan, which was established back in 1973. The investigation into an alleged relationship between a student and a junior ROTC instructor at George Washington High School has now been completed, and the Guam Department of Education anticipates issuing a statement on the results of that investigation by next week, according to Guam DOE Superintendent John Fernandez. Guam DOE has not named the junior ROTC instructor and describes him only as a school employee, citing confidentiality issues. We want to make sure we're abiding with the proper guidelines on what's confidential and what's public, said Fernandez. The instructor was removed from the high school after a student filed a misconduct complaint. George Washington High principal Lydia Hernandez Avila was also removed from her position. Some teachers and parents at GW have said the school has known about the relationship, as well as another relationship with a second student, both of whom were 18 years old at the time. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
Looks like another one of those partly cloudy days. Isolated showers in the forecast, Kevin. Winds from the east 10 to 15 miles an hour. Expected highs today, another warm one, 90 degrees. And overnight low should be about 79 degrees. Sunset 6:48 tonight. Sunrise at 5:53 in the morning. Think we might be able to get some weather radar up here so you can see what the, if you're watching on Facebook Live, you can see what the near-term weather is going to be looking like. What's washing over the island right now?
Yeah, not a whole lot for us. It looks like, once again, showers passing to our south and southeast. Weather Service says the dry weather pattern going to stick with us probably through the rest of this week, although they can't rule out the possibility of a shower because, well, we're in Guam. That's how it is, yeah. Looking at satellite, we can really see what's going on. We're kind of in a clear spot here right in the middle of the ocean. Stuff to our northwest, which is weird. The Mayu front dipping down much further south than it usually does this time of year. Got Blobage down to our south. That's the near equatorial trough or the intertropical convergence zone. And it's just sparking up a little bit, but it does is that it'll flare up and then go away, flare up and go away. And right now we're kind of in a flare-up mode. It'll be interesting to see what happens here in a couple of weeks. We should start entering into the active phase of the Madden-Julian oscillation that we've talked about in the past. And that just generally results in an uptick in shower activity in general for the region. And sometimes it's more than others. So we'll have to see how things go with the weather situation being what it is out there. That's really something on the bigger scale. For now, yeah, going to be another hot and dry day today for the most part. If you get a shower, you're lucky.
So it's like that, 6:14 in the morning. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
The sky's the limit with Bank Pacific's secure MyCloud banking. You can access your account 24/7 with your smartphone, your computer, your iPad, or any other tablet. You can pay bills, set up alerts, check your balances, wire transfer money. It's never been easier. Enroll online or come on in and see one of our friendly staff. Digital Life, Digital Solutions. Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
I got you. 6:15 in the morning. Are you hungry? Swing by King's and check out the breakfast values menu. You're gonna love this if you're hungry, but you're not famished. Maybe you had a big dinner last night, but you want to get some of that King's goodness in you. Check out the King's mini special, $5.99, 2 eggs any style, sausage patty, strip of bacon, a piece of Portuguese sausage, and a scoop of world famous King's fried rice. Check that out today. Always open, always local. APL brings you the portions of the program. American President Line Shipping the Future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar. Now that they've got those battery systems that attach to your solar panels. Ooh, that's nice. Sweet technology. Find that there. Find some sweet technology in the brand new Challengers and Chargers that they've got on sale over at Cars Plus in Mighty. It is the performance days. You're going to love what they're putting together for you. 1.99% APR on your good credit and an incredible powertrain warranty. For details, swing by Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Wednesday, isn't it? Manami Martin online this morning. Got to say hello to her and folks asking Dave Evans to call in and talk about the big Matau victory yesterday, 5-0 over Bhutan. That's kind of a big deal. Obviously, we'll spend some time talking about that when it's the sports time in the program. And then I get this note in the middle of the night from Dr. Vince Akimoto yesterday, railing against what was it? He was railing against the Festback. No. It's the other thing that GVB is up to anyway. So he sent me a thing about a guy that is third generation GML superstar hero, and he thought maybe we might want to talk about that this morning. And the answer is yeah, we could want to do that, but first we actually have to start the program. We have to get into the actual beginning of the program, and we'll start it now with this part here. Welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. It is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3. My name is Ray Gibson, as usual. Just absolutely thrilled to be hanging out with broadcast professionals like Michael Knight, our weather whisperer, our Duke Sky talker here, our interpreter of the subsidence and the what else are we doing today?
Well, subsidence is one thing that's actually affecting us right now. But yeah, you've got the Madden-Julian oscillation.
Madden-Julian oscillation.
That's a crazy dance.
But looking at the satellite, looking at the radar, it just it feels like it's been weeks and weeks and weeks since we've had any kind of serious cloud activity around here. There's just nothing going on.
Yeah, again, talking to a friend of mine on Sunday, and Sunday was like a February day in terms of clouds. There were just none. We had a nice breeze, but it was just hot. It was terribly hot because the sun is just way up in the sky, and it's that time of year. Just crazy weather that we're getting right now. Some of it really is because of the El Nino that's been going on for a while, and that's one of the effects that it has on us is that we get actually drier than normal weather when there's an El Nino in effect.
And there's the explanation from the guy that would know. 618, also big stories in the Guam Daily Post as recited and narrated by Kevin Kerrigan. Good morning, Kev. How you doing, everybody?
Hey, happy Wednesday.
It is kind of a happy Wednesday. Lots of stuff to talk about today.
Indeed.
Including Adelup and their search for an abortion doctor. Don't seem to have one around here. Last one retired and took all of his abortion toys with him. And so it's interesting to me that the administration is going to be spending government resources to try to find somebody that won't actually be working for the government.
No.
Isn't it?
Serving the needs of the people.
The Department of Corrections, and you could almost predict what they were going to be talking about yesterday over at the legislature, and there's a bunch of other items on the table of contents. But before we get around to that, let me take care of this.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
And the race is on with viewers of Facebook Live trying to get to the comment first. And today it was Anita Muffness with the Valentine's Eyes. John was there as well. James Howard, Ismail came in about number 4 today. Tony and Annette and Pinko add us there. Big sister Shelley online from the States, where she's watching the program in Hidden Hills. There's Mark Mendiola, Dave Evans, Johnson Nicholas, and Rudy Magallanes. Rudy asking if I had a chance to watch the video that he posted yesterday about being able to turn wastewater into some kind of electricity, and no, I wasn't able to watch that yesterday. I got you know what? It's the bane of the goofing off class here is actually there was work going on when I got off the air here at 10 o'clock. I checked my email and I was looking at some, and it's amazing the amount of work that was in there waiting for me that I actually, and it wasn't stuff I could look at and go, I'll take care of it tomorrow. I'll take care of it. And it was stuff that I actually had to deal with yesterday. So sorry I missed that. But if you want to paraphrase it, that would be all right.
Yeah, heavy hangs the head that wears the crown.
I suppose. And then I got home and I was thinking, I'll take a nap here. Maybe I'll get some afternoon work done. And I woke up from the nap and I remembered that I hadn't watched the last episode of Good Omens on Amazon Prime, and I got around to doing that. So suffice to say, it was one of those things where I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with my work life. But there's other people that are chiming in this morning. As I said, Johnson Nicholas there, James Howard, Rudy Magallanes, Juanita Machi is waving around this morning. Paris Mendiola Blas. We'll always have Paris. There's Richard Ibanez. Henry Gonzalez up in Vegas. Evergreen, South Guam. And thanks for hitting me up and letting me know where it is that you guys are and what it is that you guys do over there. Because it's possible the next time that I put some gasoline in the car, might run down to your place.
I saw some of those pictures.
Go hang out in a nice looking place.
Yeah. I've got to get down there, man.
I think we ought to turn that into an excuse to go do another one of those live broadcasts.
This time I want to go. We'll call Joe in here to run the buttons.
Well, no, there's got to be a way that we might be able to remote control all of the stuff that we do in there. We take all of the commercials with us, and we'll just play them from there,
or just do them all live.
And then the other thing is we won't actually show video of our faces. It'd just be like our toes.
Yeah,
just our legs and our toes in the sand, in the ocean.
With a beer can or
so
bottle.
Here's the way this is the way it's going to work. It's 6:22 in the morning. With our luck, the way it will work is that will be the day that it rains. That's the day that we'll get the rain coming in. My pal Gina Kono's online. I got John Ray Titano there. Greg Karabrock. Dave Evans says, yesterday was an historic, spectacular day for Guam national team soccer. Yes. I think can you imagine what it must have been when they finally said, "Okay, game's over," and Guam wins 5-0.
Yeah, shutout too. I mean, that's quite a feat. Bhutan is not exactly a kick over team. So.
It's not slouches, man.
Yeah. So good job.
At least that I know of. Amanda Shelton from the 35th Guam Legislature is online this morning. Amanda, one of a handful of legislators that are actually still on Guam. Apparently, everybody is. How come you didn't get to go on the Taiwan trip? It's nice there. They have, what they have in Taiwan. Kevin knows all about this. They have a thing in Taiwan called stinky tofu.
Cho tofu.
Cho tofu.
Cho tofu.
Is now, does it taste as bad as it smells?
It sure does.
It does taste because
Some people like it, but not me.
Passed by a couple of places. I mean, great street food that you can get.
Fantastic. Yeah,
it's
really
great, and there's it's not like they're like pop-ups with concrete, right? You get some of these places, and they're basically open doors and open windows, and there's a place to sit on inside, and there's which is 3 feet away from someplace where the food actually comes out of, and as I said, it feels like street food, but you still feel like you're inside of a building in some cases. But when I was there last, there was a place I had to walk by it every day for about a week when I was there, and it was the stinky tofu, and you knew when you were getting close, and it always surprised me because as bad as it smelled there was always a line of people trying to get their hands on this stuff, and I was thinking one of these days I'm going to try it because I was wondering, like there's a jackfruit, right? Isn't it the jackfruit that smells like hell but tastes great? Right. So I was thinking it was the same thing where it smells like hell but it'll taste great. But what you're saying is
well, of course it depends upon the individual. I didn't like it, so tried it.
Okay, we'll do something with that later. Yeah. Can you get it here? Do you know? Do we know if the time is?
While we're on the subject of stinky food, gentlemen, durian. Thumbs up or thumbs
durian,
down?
That's what I was thinking.
Durian, yeah.
Well, I've had it before. Yeah. I've had it before, and I love the taste of it, but there is an aroma that you've got to get past before you sneak it into your mouth.
Yeah, see, it really doesn't get past my nose. The texture is not exactly the best either, in my opinion, and that aftertaste.
The aftertaste. Well, anything can be made to taste better with a little bit of Tabasco and beer. Anyway, so Amanda, if you're working on something you want us to talk about, go ahead and beat me on the WhatsApp deal. WhatsApp number is 988-5874. That's 988-5874. Landon Adlet is there. His brother Brandon will be on the radio tomorrow talking about a 5K they've got coming up. Dave Duenas is online. John Herrera, Charlene Marchessault is hanging out. James Howard. Because there was a story in the news front page of the Guam Daily Post today. GDOE completes investigation of the JROTC story. Apparently, somebody getting a little bit too friendly with the 18-year-old almost graduates, and you're not supposed to do that. So we're coming to a close on the investigation of that and the disposition of what's going to be happening with the instructor, the principal, and maybe even the students. We'll watch and see what happens. But James asking a question: how about the gun guy at Southern High? Still investigating. Yeah, this must be. They need to bring in Sherlock Holmes. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to bring in, Dick Tracy or something like that. Real live detectives from the movies and literature. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Apparently the hijinks there, so ineffable.
This is a job for Kojak.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't get it. The only thing I can say is, and I've said it before, just each day that passes by, and they're kind of whistling around the media. Everything will be all right. Just don't bring up Southern High. It looks and feels more like a cover-up.
At this point, I'm guessing it was one of the top 2 administrators of the school. The principal or the assistant principal. Otherwise, there would be no reason to continue to not spill
the beans on that one. Mingo Rhea is there. Andy Tadenko is online this morning. Sylvan Chudela. Jeff Pleadwell from Pirates Cove, maybe you've heard of the place, is online. Neats is on. Brandon. I got both of the Adlet boys. That's nice. So the only one that we're missing now is the baby, I think.
Great.
Oh, great.
They probably spent the whole portion of the weather thing in the program just giggling and laughing like, yes, dude, he has no idea what he's talking about.
Right. You wonder about that. So the experts on the radio, and then you've got the real live experts over at the National Weather Service going, he said subsidence again. He said subsidence. As I said, Randy Kruger's online. Manami Martin is hanging out with us as well. Former Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez is online. Oh, there's a wave from Manami. That's very nice. I like it when you do the emoji thing. Eunice Mendiola and Eric McKinnon. Mark Cruz is there with us this morning. Linda Gabriel. Lorna Anikas. Good morning, Lorna. how's the running coming along? I haven't seen you guys in an awful long time, but there's bunches of 5Ks coming up. Lorna is probably the luckiest runner on Guam. I think she probably holds some kind of a record in the running community for winning the most prizes at the. See, this is why you go to 5Ks, right? You can get a runner to do anything for a bib and a T-shirt and half of an orange. But the other enticements for runners is to go and play and win in some of the raffles that they do at the end of it. And Lorna has gotten herself some really cool prizes as a result of that. Next big one's going to be the Rotary Club 2K 5K Chamorro Village at this coming Saturday. Is that right? Saturday, the 15th. I won't be there. I'm going to be on a plane. More on that in a little bit. Dave Torrey online. Tony D'Angelo is there. I see Doris Mendiola, Nate Horn, Randy Landis, and Lillian Cruz. Huffalil, good to see you. Lisa San Augustine, Flordeliza Martinez. Interesting name. Happy Philippine Independence from Carl T.C. Gutierrez. Is that today? And is there a way that I can help you celebrate that a little bit more? Stand by. Hold on just a second. As I'm looking over the clock to make sure I've got time to talk about this. Fly to more fun on Independence Day. Seats for all Cebu Pacific routes up for grabs for as low as $69. And here's the long and short of that. Beginning today until June 14th, all domestic and international routes are on sale with travel period August 1 to March 31, 2020, with all routes on the most affordable fares across the Cebu Pacific widest domestic network. Flight finders can zone in on their destination of choice, be it the beach getaway of Cebu, the revitalized Boracay, charming Palawan, and the emerging surf capital Siargao. I said that wrong, I'm sure of it. But at any rate, they're talking about airplane rides aboard Cebu Pacific for as low as $69. What are you waiting for? Book your seats now, CebuPacificAir.com on the World Wide Web. The airplane ride anywhere for $69 sounds great. What's it cost to get to Saipan on United? Does anybody know? You know, I don't know because I've pondered the idea of going up there in the last couple of months, but it always comes down to when the flights leave, when they come back. And for something as simple as I just need to go up there for a day. There used to be, once upon a time, and some of you might be old enough to remember, there was a time where you could get up to Saipan in the morning, say 9 o'clock, catch an 8 o'clock flight, get up there at 9 o'clock, go out there, take care of your business, go have a nice lunch, maybe catch a drink or two with some friends over at the Olei Beach Bar, and then back to the airport and home by 6. Right? You used to be able to do that. And if you didn't make that flight, you could be home by 7. And if you didn't make that, they just kind of bing, bang, bang. There were a bunch of different ways to get back and forth, and I can't seem to wrangle that up. I missed an opportunity. Just not that long ago when they were having their election. They didn't trust any of their journalists. They didn't trust any of the people that they've got laying around there. So they wanted to bring me up so I could be a completely, truly third-party, independent, not affiliated with anybody, master of ceremonies, or what do they call it, moderator for some debates that they had going on. And we looked at the flight schedule, we looked at the hotel accommodations. There's just no way to do it without me missing too many days on the radio here, and being with you here more important than doing any of that stuff there. Do you feel good now? Nice. 6:31 in the morning. Time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: the now deceased Monsignor Jose Ada Leon Guerrero, who served as a Catholic priest on Guam and Saipan, is accused of coaxing a teenage girl into drinking wine and then raping her after she fell asleep. That, according to the latest lawsuit filed in district court against the Capuchin Franciscans and the Archdiocese of Agana. The lawsuit was filed by a woman using the initials MJR to protect her identity. She alleges that the incident happened on the second floor of the Sagrada Familia Catholic Church in Asin, where Monsignor Leon Guerrero resided as the parish priest. The girl was 13 at the time. She was attending a study club at the parish when the alleged incident occurred. The lawsuit seeks $5 million in damages. The Leon Guerrero administration is waiting in vain for the release of the names of Guam's World War II survivors who have been awarded reparations that, according to Delegate Michael San Nicolas, Adelup will not get any list of names, said the congressman. He told the Guam Daily Post that is confidential. Waiting for a list of names, he said, underscores that the administration has not vetted their proposal to award reparations now. And Janela Carrera, the governor's communications director, said on Monday of this week that the administration is waiting for those names to be released before finalizing a plan to use local funds to pay out war reparations to the survivors before the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Guam on July 21st. Although recipients of reparation awards can identify themselves, the decisions made by the Foreign Claims Settlement Commission are listed by case number only. The first in a series of town hall meetings in the wake of last week's machete attack takes place tonight in the village where it happened. Mayor Alan Ungacta of Manilao said that he's hoping he will get some positive dialogue going and see if we can come to an understanding and try to get some of these issues resolved, he said. The meeting will take place in the Manilao Community Center at 6 o'clock tonight. The initiative was one of the ideas that came out of the emergency meeting called by the governor last week, the day after 7 vehicles were damaged and their drivers terrorized when they were attacked by at least 2 men, one of whom was armed with a machete. Officials say they hope community meetings will help bridge any misunderstandings between local residents and members of the FSM community. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
6:34, Kevin. That's iConnect time. Go to iConnect and learn about the great packages that they've got here for you. 2019 has brought in some great ideas on how they're going to save you money on your mobile and internet plan. Can't make it to the store? We'll call them at 888-8888.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igomamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Scanning the traffic gizmo, looking for trouble here this morning. Don't see anything. Southbound Marine Corps Drive clear all the way into the Upper Tumon area. You get past JFK and the Kmart area, and it's smooth running all the way into the downtown Gutnia area. Creepy traffic there yesterday afternoon. There was a truck, one of these big, not a cargo truck, but a flatbed truck, got jackknifed over at the intersection right in front of a venue, which meant that there was only enough room for a tiny sliver of traffic to be able to get from anywhere on Marine Corps Drive up onto Route 8. Don't know how long that lasted, but it was making folks crazy yesterday afternoon. Don't see anything like that in the downtown area right now. Might be running a little bit slow just past the Agana shopping centers. You're making your way towards the Bank of Guam area, but the rest of southbound traffic running cool all the way down to Sumai right now. 6:35, that's right now traffic here on The Point.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I'm sorry. I was looking up a story here. As I've told you, I've got this Google alert that is triggered by stories about Guam, right? So if most of the time you pick it up and it's all Daily Post stories or PNC or KUM or something like that. The usual. It's our media, and Google will put that in there. But every once in a while you'll see something like a Guam story that gets picked up nationwide, worldwide, shows up on internet websites all over the place. A couple of the big ones that they're following this morning is the story about Guam and abortions, and the administration's attempts now to find a doctor that might be able to come to Guam and do abortions. Interesting that government resources are going to be spent to find a doctor that won't actually be working for the government of Guam or for the Department of Public Health. Interesting the way that they're looking at that in order to provide some kind of an option for the interesting case, certainly the interesting case that we've got in front of us. That story has been picked up by a number of stateside websites and news companies, news outlets, including Christian Headlines. Scott Slayton, the contributor to ChristianHeadlines.com, writes today, Guam Governor Lourdes Leon Guerrero has run into a serious obstacle in her desire to see abortion rights thrive on the island. Doctors who refuse to perform the procedure. The U.S. territory, located in Micronesia in the Western Pacific, is over 80% Catholic, and no doctors have agreed to offer abortion since the island's last abortion provider retired last year. It's legal in Guam up to 13 weeks, but doctors can deny the service unless there is some kind of a medical emergency. No abortions have been reported to Guam's Office of Vital Statistics since last June. Women who terminate a pregnancy without a doctor's aid could be charged with a felony. He goes on to talk a little bit more about the history and the backup and this particular story. Kind of interesting. But the other story, and obviously the victory over Bhutan by the Matao yesterday, that's a big story sports-wise when it comes to Guam. But the other story, this is kind of amazing to me, the other story that seems to be getting a lot of traction, in fact, it showed up today in the Washington Post. It is shown up on WJTV's News 12 channel. Their online source, and Boing Boing, which is a fairly well-known blog out in the country, talking about a man stealing $12,000 worth of corned beef. Our corned beef heist has gone viral, if you will. It's all over the place. Some interesting comments from people that they're looking into this and suggesting that there might be a connection between our corned beef heist and apparently the Great Canadian Maple Syrup heist. Over the course of the last several months, according to this story, between 2/11 and 2/12, nearly 10,000 barrels were stolen in a suspected insider job from the FPAQ facility in St. Louis de Blandford, Quebec. The syrup was stored in unmarked white metal barrels, only inspected once a year. Thieves used trucks to transport barrels to a remote sugar shack where they siphoned off the maple syrup, refilled the barrels with water, then returned them to the facility. As the operation progressed, the thieves started siphoning syrup directly off barrels in the reserve without refilling them. The stolen syrup was trucked to the south and east, they believe Vermont and New Brunswick, where it was trafficked in many small batches to reduce suspicion, typically sold to legitimate syrup distributors who were unaware of its origin. So there's a black market for, apparently a black market for the real deal, Great Canadian Maple Syrups. Well, to be fair, 20 away from 7 o'clock in the morning, getting back to the story on, again, Christian Headlines and their take on it. Doctors in Guam refuse to perform abortions, and the go-to guy for conversations like this is the guy that first taught me about the Green Book of Catechism many years ago, my friend Tim Rohr. Good morning, Tim.
Hey, Ray, good morning. Long time no talk.
I know you. Well, you've been busy, and I've been busy, and there hasn't really been, outside of the continuing case against the Archdiocese, which, I swore off a long time ago, there really hasn't been enough juicy Catholic stuff to talk about. But now here we are with this one here, and the interesting attempts that a government administration is taking to find an abortion doctor that won't actually work for the administration.
Yeah, the first thing to note is that this is not a Catholic issue. Guam led the nation as the easiest place to get an abortion for 30 years until about 2008 when we started doing legislation. We had approximately 600 abortions a year, so it has nothing to do with being a Catholic island. And then I don't even know how many doctors are Catholic, and even the ones that do. I think I even read in the something that Leon Guerrero had said that the majority of the people are with her, which is why they elected her in the first place. So it has nothing to do with being Catholic. I don't know why nobody wants to take up the business, other than it's a pretty dirty, ugly business. Period.
I imagine it is.
Not many doctors want to put abortion provider on. If they're legitimate OBGYNs. why would they want to dirty themselves? And anyway, it's just a dirty, ugly business, and they don't want to do it. It has nothing to do with being Catholic, that's for sure.
Is there a potential, do you suppose, for blowback from among members of the community? I mean, if there was only one guy that was doing it and he left. I mean, is there still that kind of demand that we have in the community? Are there armies of women out there that find themselves in trouble that for whom there's no avenue? Is that something that we need to be concerned about?
Well, so in 2008, when I started FOIAing the abortion statistics every year, it was pretty enlightening, because the thought was that most of these abortions are happening with people that are coming here, or military, or they're teenagers, or whatever. And the stats show something completely different. First of all, teenagers are the least demographic to procure an abortion. I think there was maybe like 3 or 4 a year, and I even know from some of the stories that it was their parents who hauled them down to the abortion clinic to get the abortion, not the kids that wanted to get an abortion. And then we find out that year after year, the largest demographic, 2/3 of all abortions were performed on people identifying themselves as chamorro, which that means Catholic for most people. So it wasn't people that weren't coming here. The other thing that we found was that it's not young girls or whatever. It's the 25 to 35 is the largest demographic. These are people old enough to know better. It's not like they don't have access to contraception. So it really points to, and it's not even economic. It really points to, well, it's just simply the last resort for birth control.
Yeah.
When the condom doesn't work, and the FDA actually says that condoms fail 1 out of 6 times, and we're pushing condoms, like safe sex, and it's like taking a revolver with one loaded chamber and pointing it at your head.
Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't.
Well, this is the FDA. It says it fails 1 out of 6 times, which, by the way, it points to why we have such a chlamydia, epidemic here. People think they're in safe sex. Well, if you can get pregnant 1 out of 6 times using a condom, how much more often can you catch a disease like that? Right?
Are you suggesting that despite the fact that there is no abortion doctor here on Guam for whatever reason, if there was, they'd be pretty busy?
Well, according to past, in fact, the guy that just quit, Freeman, by the time he retired in May, he'd already performed 105 abortions. So for that year, so we've averaged 200 to 300 a year. 1 to 2 a day sometimes, or anyway, yeah, one every 2 days or something like that. Yeah, so traditionally they have been pretty busy. So yeah, and somebody probably could set up shop here and do pretty good business. It's $1,200 a shot for an abortion on the average. So if you're doing one a day, $1,200 a day is a little bit better than working for the radio station, right?
Oh, absolutely. So the question that I've got for you here is then, if there's not going to be much of a religious blowback, I can see some more posters going up over by St. Anthony's and some of the Catholic schools. Is there political blowback? Is that a likelihood here in this scenario?
I don't know. People elected Lulian Guerrero, and she's been the abortion queen since 1990, in that whole famous case back then, if you remember that.
Well, it was brought to the fore of everybody's consciousness again in the most recent gubernatorial election, where video of her and taking her position on the pro-choice was a big deal, and you'll recall that then Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio ran on a pro-life platform.
And here's the funny thing.
And lost.
But Ray didn't come along till the end. That abortion issue did not come around to the end, and I'm surprised it didn't come up in the Democratic, what do you call it? What do you call that?
That primary, the primary election for the Democrats.
Primary, because Frank Uggan has been the big champion for pro-life stuff, and he's running against the most pro-abortion candidate ever. So why didn't it come up then? I don't know.
So maybe he's got access to the same stats that you do, and saying that Guam generally doesn't necessarily have a problem with abortion. We just don't have anybody here to do them now.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. It just wasn't an issue. It just people really don't care about it. It really isn't an issue. It's not a political issue. It just isn't, and that's why no candidate wanted to get involved in that. They only came up when it became pretty clear that Ray wasn't going to make it. And actually, I was recruited, not directly by Ray, but I was recruited by people in this campaign to join, because they knew I had the firepower to do it. And I said, well, it's too late, I mean, you guys just want to do it now, So I said no. So I don't think there's a political thing. I don't think there's anything. I just don't think that there's anybody that really, wants to dirty their practices. We got good doctors here who have legitimate practices. They're making money doing what they do. And also there was a public hearing at one point, and I can't remember exactly which one it was, where somebody from Annie Bordelli, I don't know if it was Annie Bordelli or somebody from her office, read her testimony opposing certain pro-life legislation, saying that if we keep doing this, we're going to run the abortion doctors out of town, and I'm going to have to do them.
And sure enough, the abortion doctors are all gone.
Yeah. And so, but there she's on record as saying that she would have to do them, so I guess she's willing to do them. I mean, that's public record. That's not me saying anything. That's just what it was. So it's one of the committee reports, and I could probably find it. So it's not like there aren't people here willing to do it. I guess they just don't want to put it on their billboard.
Well, to the degree that it's always interesting to hear some fire and brimstone here, I'm wondering then, is there room for somebody that is pro-life to get down and dirty and get vocal about this? So we're seeing all kinds of cases in the United States of America where states are, for all intents and purposes, essentially banning abortion in their states.
It is amazing to watch, and then here we are, supposedly the most Catholic, place per capita in the United States, and we don't have any champions in our legislature for this. They all run from it.
Interesting times. 10 away from the top of the hour. Let's you know what? Maybe one of these days I'll swing by your place down in Agate, and we'll watch the sunset, and you can teach me about smoking cigars.
It's always open to you, Ray. Just let me know.
I will. Thanks, Tim Rohr on the radio. It's always fun talking with you. 888-8255, 888-TALK. And like I said, if there was going to be a fire and brimstone in the conversation, it would have come from him. But he didn't sound like there's all that much to get excited about, is there? So you've got the telephone number and a certain amount of excitement floating around here with FESPAC that's going to be going on, and 100 delegates from Guam supposed to be going off to Hawaii in 2020. Looks like everything's going to get lit out by Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. Or is it Acting Governor Tenorio?
Yeah, acting for balance of the week.
What are we going to do with that? Come on, dude, me and you, executive orders.
Nothing. The governor's left me, there's a lot of things always at play. So if there's a few things being drafted, if they're done this week, then I'll act on it. If not, the governor will act on it. So, we are very collaborative. So it shouldn't be such a big deal. We're stable and going on.
Can I get a hint on what you're working on?
Well, right now we're working. It's kind of somewhat related to FESPAC. We're working on, in the last few years, a lot of agencies were lumped under the Department of Chamorro Affairs, including the Territorial Library. And we've already indicated in our budget submission that we're interested in having the library return as a department and having, for the first time ever, not ever, but for the first time in a long time, a professional territorial librarian to head it, so that we can actually focus on literacy and focus on how we transform the current library into a modern library like they're doing throughout the United States. So, there's different things like that, looking at that, and we're also looking at climate change. And then, of course, I've been meeting a lot. I don't expect an executive order yet. Maybe we'll see. But trying to really coordinate the efforts on this homelessness problem that we have.
Well, that's a tricky one. As somebody that spends time in the downtown area from time to time, you get these zombies kind of walking around. It starts over at the Paseo in the morning, and then they find their way over back towards the donut place, and then before you know it, it gets to be sunset, and they're heading over to Hulali. It's kind of like this homeless zombie trail that they've got going on.
Yeah, it is. And so there's all sorts of elements that are there. There's the element of public safety. There's an element of mental health. There's an element.
It's public health for sure.
Of public health, absolutely. So those kind of things that we have different things moving that I'm working on.
Well, a statistic that I was looking at recently, Josh, says that they've indicated that about half of the homeless that have been counted so far are residents of the FSM FAS. Should there be any call from our government back to the federal government of the United States or FSM president suggesting that these people be sent back home? They're of no means to be able to take care of themselves, obviously not working, not attending school, and not here for any medical issues. Should they be required to return back to their home islands?
Well, some of them want to get back there, but they're stranded. That's the conversation that I'm having with Clint Rogel and the FSM ambassador. In fact, when I was in Hawaii last month, I'll tell you that 30% of the homeless in Hawaii are Micronesians.
There we go. Everybody kind of running into the same problem. You know, we've got under. You know, it started with the part of the call was to be able to see if we could save some money on sending people to FESPAC by using mileage. Is it possible we could use some of the mileage in the government's mileage bank to be able to put folks on airplanes back home?
It is, and I've just and another alternative. It looks like, and I was messaged under Kelly Marsh. It looks like we may have some alternatives than an appropriation to get the delegation there. There are some contributions that are going to be paid by GRMC to Taha that will be in excess of the amount that's needed, and we're in discussions with them, and that may be a source that could take care of that obligation. So hopefully my goal, after talking, my goal is confirming all of that and writing an awesome letter that Kelly Marsh types note that will be used to maybe withdraw the bill for appropriation.
Right. Okay. So wouldn't necessarily come out of the sources, the tourist attraction fund. That was an issue that I had with it yesterday. That $400,000 go a long way to cleaning up the parks and fixing bathrooms.
Sure. No, that's a concern. Of course, we do have a big investment that we're about to make with some federal funds on parks and restrooms. And I had a friendly conversation with Senator Jimmy Moylan yesterday about his ideas to strengthen or explore opportunities for more private sector empowerment for parks and developing parks and recreational.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean,
things I think.
Whatever we've been doing recently hasn't been working for us. Between the homeless issues we've got and crimes and vagrants running around, it's just impossible, it seems to me, for tourists and even locals to enjoy our park scenes anymore.
I think that when we focus in our job and we put resources where they need to be, we can show that we can make a difference. So when Golden Week happened, we did a big suppression movement, and there wasn't any issue that was reported. So that was, I think we need to, right now, I was thinking about this all day after, watching some of the DOC budget hearing and looking at the numbers and seeing where we are and the frustrations I myself have with the DOA process to hire the police officers and thinking of ways to kind of fast track it. There's no question that we have to increase the amount of public safety officers because there are all these things that are happening on the island of people, and people are pissed off. They're upset, as am I. So we're working on some of that stuff also.
Yeah, I mean, the community meetings and let's bring in the pastors and all of this stuff from the church and commissioners and mayors and stuff. I think it looks good on paper, but I don't know that it sends out the right message to the community that we're going to be tough. My suggestion was we take the chief of the Guam Police Department and start taking resources from the airport. Does the airport need as many guys as it's got right now? As an example, does the port need as many guys as it has right now? They've got the uniforms, they've got badges, they've got training. Let's put them in some of these squad cars and increase the police presence.
I hear what you're saying. We're thinking along the same way.
Cool. I like it when that happens.
By the way, I do want to tell you though that I'm working on something and we'll see if it works. But I haven't forgotten about your number one pet peeve at Kmart intersection, and I'm making plans to do something about that. So. When it's done, I'm personally going to go there with you.
Dude, I got tools. What do we need? I got grinders. I can get some discs. I can have that thing down in an hour. Me and a couple of guys. You just show up. You just show up with the beer and the Jollibee, right? And we can. Me and my buddies will have that thing down in no time.
By the way, I do have to say I went to Jollibee for the first time last weekend.
Really?
I understand. Yes. Well, I mean, I tried it a little in the Philippines, but I'm more of the I want to go to Shakey's kind of thing because it goes mojos. But I have to tell you, I went to the inaugural opening Saturday. Had a chance to meet with the owners, and but I did try the Chicken Joy, and I did have a joy. It really, really good.
Right.
I understand now why there are lots of lines and why this Jollibee is number 2 in sales in the world out of 1,400 stores.
Just jumps up like that at you, and the idea that they're going to be opening up more stores on Guam in the next 5 years.
Yeah, no, I think it's excellent. It's certainly good, and in fact, I told them that we're working hard on cutting red tape and restructuring some of these processes for business license and building inspections. I've been getting status reports from Bert Johnston and his committee, and things are. I think things are going to be moving. I think in a couple months we'll be. For sure, the governor and I will be making executive action to kind of reform that area and make Guam a bit more business friendly.
The idea that there is some streamlining, although in some cases I've been surprised at how quickly I've been able to get business licenses or change DBAs and things like that. A quick question from Carmen Paredes online. Guam can send up to 100 people. Does that mean that we're obligated to send up to 100? It's FESPAC withdrawal after FESPAC ended in 2016. Is it possible that we could send 30 or 40 or maybe half of that number and save ourselves some money? Do we need to max out on 100?
Well, if we want to participate in all the different disciplines that are there, then I would say yes, we would.
I see.
Want to. I mean, I would tell you that even in past FESPACs going into the other countries, the delegation size has been about 120, 140, maybe even 150. So, I think it could be balanced. Part of it, too, is being balanced with that and the government's interest in seeing a delegation and seeing what other resources each individual delegate will be able to bring in.
I was going to say we need to have some car washes and parties over at the venue. 7 o'clock in the morning. Josh, I got to run, so fun talking with you.
Thanks.
All right, amigo, I'll talk to you very, very soon, I'm sure. Radio station is KUSG Agutnia. That's Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, and this is Fox News.
For cooperation, I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. The House has approved a measure designed to enforce congressional subpoenas. Fox's Jared Halpern's live on Capitol Hill.
A straight party line vote authorizes the Judiciary Committee to take Attorney General William Barr and former White House counsel Don McGahn to court, a civil contempt resolution to enforce subpoenas issued over the special counsel's Russia report.
We have never faced such blanket stonewallings. The president himself said, and they've been as good as their word, they will oppose all of our subpoenas.
But Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler is holding off on a criminal contempt citation for Barr after reaching a deal with the Justice Department. The House Oversight Committee, meantime, moving forward on contempt for Barr and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross over subpoenas related to the 2020 census. Rich.
Jared, a war of words between President Trump and potential challenger, former Vice President Joe Biden.
He's even slower than he used to be, so I don't know, but when he mentions my name that many times, I guess I should be complimented.
Biden answering the criticism while campaigning in Iowa today, saying the president fails the basic standards to hold office. The president speaking in southwest Iowa at this hour, promoting increased use of ethanol-based fuels. Jon Stewart, comedian and former host of The Daily Show, testifying today before a congressional committee. He's urging lawmakers to fully fund the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund, which is set to expire late next year.
It's what gave a reeling nation a solid foundation to stand back upon, to remind us of why this country is great, of why this country is worth fighting for, and you are ignoring them.
Those funds help pay for medical and economic losses for those affected by the terrorist attacks. A measure under consideration would extend that program indefinitely. This is Fox News.
Discover a new galaxy. GTA introduces the new Samsung Galaxy S10 in 3 different sizes. The Galaxy S10 comes with cool new features like Power Share that allows you the ability to share your battery power with other devices. Or you can capture a wider world with its new camera featuring an ultra-wide lens for when you need to take pictures of the whole family. And with GTA handset payment option, you can take home a Galaxy S10 for $0 down. GTA, we start with you.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
A college student accused of multiple assaults against women set to appear in court tomorrow.
New sex assault charges have been filed against a Marshall University student allowed to stay at the West Virginia school despite being convicted in an attack against a woman on campus in 2016. The new indictment claims Joseph Harden assaulted 2 women last year. In September and October, he was jailed Friday for violating probation. Harden, now 22, was originally charged with second-degree sexual assault in 2016, then convicted on a misdemeanor battery charge, getting 3 years probation and a suspended jail sentence, which prosecutors now want reinstated. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
There's new troubles for the attempted reboot of a classic music festival.
After a lot of back and forth and rumors, it's now official that the upcoming Woodstock 50 Music Festival looks like it won't even happen, as it doesn't even have a venue or location. In a statement, the owners of the planned site for the festival, Watkins Glen International, said that they have terminated the site license and officially announced that they will not be hosting it. The festival had originally been planned for August 16th through the 18th to mark the 50th anniversary of the 1969 Woodstock Music Festival. However, it was met with immediate problems, ranging from not getting the correct permits to investors that began to pull out. Mike Unzelman, Fox News.
Norwegian authorities say they're trying to identify the source of water contamination that has sent dozens of people in southern Norway to the hospital. Since Thursday, 55 people, including 13 children from an island north of Bergen, were briefly hospitalized. Officials say some 2,000 have gotten sick. A 1-year-old from the island died last week of a digestive tract infection, but it's not yet clear if that was linked to the contamination. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
Let's see now. Fast, easy, affordable. That's the best way to describe my home loan at Bank Pacific. Fast because we give quick decisions. Easy because we've cut back on the paperwork. Affordable because today's home loan rates are still so low. So see us today to refinance or consolidate or to buy or build your new home and save yourself some money.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
2 for $1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2 for $1 dinner time for limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegui of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero telling the Associated Press in a recent interview that her administration is trying to recruit a doctor to perform abortions on Guam. Jane Flores, the director of the Bureau of Women's Affairs at the governor's office, says she has been tasked with that effort in order to ensure women on Guam have a choice. Flores also said the effort is part of a larger plan to promote responsible sex. Dr. William Freeman was the last of 2 doctors who performed abortions on island. He retired last year. No other physician on island currently performs abortions. Flores said, "We need to have someone who can do the procedure in cases of rape or incest." The other side of that coin, she said, is they're working on a campaign for responsible sex. The Archdiocese of Agana, however, expressing concern in a statement, the Archdiocese appeals to the governor to respect life from conception and defend innocent babies. Dr. Tom Shea said he would like to see Antelope working instead on recruiting different kinds of doctors, those who do procedures that will help save lives, like pediatric surgeons or interventional cardiologists. The now deceased Monsignor Jose Ada Leon Guerrero, who served as a Catholic priest on Guam and Saipan, is accused of coaxing a teenage girl into drinking wine and then raping her after she fell asleep. That, according to the latest lawsuit filed in district court against the Capuchin Franciscans and the Archdiocese of Agana. The lawsuit was filed by a woman using the initials MJR to protect her identity. She alleges the incident happened on the second floor of the Sagrada Familia Catholic Church in Asin, where Monsignor Leon Guerrero resided as a parish priest. The girl was 13 at the time, and she was attending a study club at the parish when the alleged incident occurred. The lawsuit is seeking $5 million in damages. We'll have more news after this.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it?
I'll take a book club.
Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll.
Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The Department of Corrections is woefully understaffed, according to Alan Borja, the warden of the Adult Correctional Facility in Manilao. During testimony yesterday at DOC's budget hearing, he said the perimeter of the prison is vulnerable and we don't have adequate staff to manage it. The Manilao prison houses 503 inmates and detainees. Another 187 are jailed in the Agana detention facility. Borja said that's really overpopulated. Right now, he said only 70 officers are available on any given day to cover both facilities, while standard operating procedure calls for at least 108 officers to be on duty. He also pointed out that the prison's central processing center is handling 12 to 15 arrests every day, and that number has doubled in the past 10 years. Borja asked lawmakers for their support before something really grave happens at the prison, he said. DOC Director Samantha Brennan yesterday told members of the committee that DOC's budget request is just $24.4 million this year. That's about $2 million less than last year, or the current fiscal year, that is. Appropriations Committee Chairman Senator Joe San Augustine said that her request should be back up at $26 million, if not more, and he asked the director to provide the committee with a supplemental appropriation request to cover the need for additional corrections officers. Delegate Michael San Nicolas has announced that the House Armed Services Committee markup of the 2020 National Defense Authorization Act includes $403 million in build-up projects for Guam. The measure now goes to the House floor for a vote, and then it must be reconciled with the Senate version of the defense spending package. The full committee markup of H.R. 2500 includes the following spending projects for Guam: $164 million to build a bachelor enlisted quarters, $91 million for a machine gun range, and $19 million for an X-ray wharf refueling facility. In a release announcing the markup, San Nicolas said the build-up investment continues, and he thanked the committee leadership of the House for their continued support of the Guam build-up. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
Let me see what the weather guy called up today. It's partly cloudy skies. There's isolated showers in today's forecast. Some east winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Highs near 90 and overnight lows of about 79 degrees. Sunset 6:48 and sunrise at 5:53. Take a look at the weather radar and see where those isolated showers might be coming from. They're going to have to form over us, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, but, you know, the radar is best interpreted with a little bit of help.
It's not 420. It's only 712.
Yeah, but look at the colors. Man.
It's pretty.
Those are far out, man. So, yeah, just showers down south of us. Nothing really down or upstream, downstream. Nothing coming this way, it would seem. Might get a shower or two, though. That was, well, we live on Guam, and that's just the kind of usual thing. Looking at satellite, we can see what's going on. We are in kind of a clear spot. Got some stuff sliding to the south of us that we did see on radar. All the blobbage down to the south is the intertropical convergence zone. Yeah. The blobbage up to the northwest is a front that should not be there this time of year. Doesn't really mean anything for us other than we just keep getting these little impulses of drier air. You can see the drier air in the satellite picture with the pinks and the purples there in amidst the blue. And just not supposed to happen this time of year, but it is, and so that's what we're dealing with. Mostly dry stuff.
It looked like there might have been something up in Tinian and Saipan over the last in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, they did get a little round of showers on through there. Something held together overnight and just kind of rained on them. They got lucky. We were in between everything last night. So
just the way it is. All right, 7:14. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Your home is one of the most important investments you'll make in your life. At Nanbo Insurance, you can rest easy knowing that you're covered with reliable and affordable homeowners insurance. Nanbo makes it easy to protect what matters the most so you can enjoy the moments that matter the most. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
Oh, good plan. Swing by King's Restaurant. You're going to enjoy a fantastic breakfast that they've laid out for you. In fact, I was just examining the picture a second ago because it makes my mouth to water. King's Big Platter. This is a staple of King's dining and has been for about 40 years. It includes a couple of slices of bacon. We've got the sausage there, Portuguese sausage, and what looks like Spam luncheon meat of some kind or another. See a couple eggs in there and hash browns, $9.99 for that. And that's one of a dozen or so items that they've got on these breakfast value menus that you can try over at King's. Portions of the program also brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future Micronesia renewable energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar, especially now that they've got battery packs that go with your solar deal. Imagine that. You'll never have to worry about recharging your phone because it's just all right there, and it's always cranking. And Cars Plus, where they're having performance days going on right now. If you were one of those kids like I was that wanted a Challenger or a Charger when you were growing up, well, you're grown up now, aren't you? Let's go swing by Cars Plus and see what kind of deal we can put together. 1.99% APR and incredible deals on maintenance and that kind of thing. So swing by Cars Plus in Mighty.
Real Talk Radio is back. Welcome to The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
Let's see what everybody fighting about on the Facebooks right now. Lady D says, "Sorry, Kenny, it's Hump Day." And Kenny Williams asking, "Is it Saturday yet?" And not knowing because it's Wednesday. It's the day I don't call Hump Day because everybody else on the planet does. And I try to be a little bit different and a little bit unique in that fashion. So yeah, sorry I didn't tell you what day it is. The question of the day and the title of today's program is, "Did you win $30 million worth of money last night?" They had the bingo draw, and I think I have the numbers that they called in the Super Tuesday last night. 2, 7, 26, 30, 34, 37, and 43. Now, that's all I know. I don't know if anybody is coming forward with any of those numbers or what combination of those numbers would have gotten you close to a decent prize.
Yeah, pretty obvious I did not win because I am here.
You're here. Yes, that's thinking about the same thing myself here. $12 million is the Thursday jackpot, so good luck on that. A standard card costs only $9. Play extra Powerballs, $2 per Powerball, and that gives you more chances to win. They're available just about everywhere. But as I said, don't know if anybody won the big $30 million jackpot. But if you absolutely need to get the money in your hands sometime soon, Thursday's jackpot, $12 million. And that's something else. Hey, time to take a look at what happened on the market, see what where it all closed up. The markets were down this morning. I'm looking at final numbers. It looks like they ended up closing down. Dow Jones Industrial Average still over 26,048. In fact, they're off by about 14 points from where they opened. NASDAQ at 7822. They're off by about a half a point, something like that. The S&P 500 closed a point shy of 28.86. They closed at 28.85 here this morning. Nobody down by any major percentages. Asian markets looking pretty good. FTSE, Nikkei, Hang Seng Index, and Shanghai are all going to be opening up. Big winner here is the Shanghai Index. I'm sorry, Hang Seng, which is closed yesterday at 27,789, picked up 210 points in trade there. DAX also looking pretty good if that's where you've got your things indexed to. If you're looking at commodities, well, oil off by about 20 cents or so. $53.09 for a barrel of West Texas crude. And the good news is that the Tappas continues to slide down, not very quickly. I mean, it's not doing one of these steep butt slides down the mountain, but it still looks good. 67.18 where it was the other day, trading now at $66.89. 29 cents worth of savings for people that are out there buying Tappas crude, and that is some pretty good news, I think. I did get a note here. I wanted to share something with you. Dennis Santa Tomas sent me something on the Facebooks that I thought was actually really, really interesting news. And it doesn't matter to me so much where you fall in the love Trump, hate Trump thing, or whether you've got any great ideas about what's happening in the American economy. But if you're having a hard time finding a job here on Guam, you're like the only one. And you need to go to the States. If you can't find work here, you need to go to the States. There are more jobs, according to CNBC, more jobs than people out of work, something the American economy has never experienced before. Here's the numbers: 6.7 million job openings, and there are only 6.4 million available workers to fill them, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's a fairly big deficit. April marked the second month in a row that there were more vacancies than available hires, a phenomenon that has not happened since before 2018. Despite the mismatch, sizable wage gains remain elusive, with average hourly earnings up 2.7% over the last year. Now, this is something that we've talked about as well. There's a lot of people that need to get workers in to flip burgers and ring cash registers and mop floors and things like that. They just don't want to pay any more than about $8.25 an hour for that work. So you're going, well, maybe there's got to be another way that we can entice people to come in and take these jobs. What was it that we were talking about just a couple of weeks ago? Is I'll tell you what, we're not going to give you any increase in the actual hourly wage, but how about we pay you on the same day that you're working? You want to do something like that? We'll find other benefits, non-cash benefits that we might be able to give you, some free meals or whatever it takes. You're working in a hotel, you stay there for nothing over the weekend or something like that.
Yeah, now that's a part of it. The other part of it is that the entry-level wage may not be what you're looking for, but if you show you got something, the good chances are you're going to be promoted pretty quickly, because they need that first-line supervisor and then middle management and all. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. But, yeah, there's a lot of jobs back there. They've been in the 7 millions before. So they're below 7. There's over 7 million jobs that are up for grabs, and not enough people going for them. People are screaming for bodies back there.
Got to get to work.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. But are they high-paying jobs? I mean, would it be some? Well, we're talking making the noise. If you can't find a job here, get in the States. But they'll hire you. But are they going to be any decent jobs? Are they going to be something that you might be able to pull in $65,000-$70,000 a year on?
Oh, geez. More.
Really?
You got people back there. You have companies that are hiring for MBA type quality kids coming out of college, and still they have to train them because I'm tied into those channels. And you have companies that are saying, we'll take you, and the starting salary could be 100, could be 100 and a quarter, could be more, whatever the job and industry is, they still need to train them before they're seriously productive.
Wow.
I mean, that's going on back there. But they do it because they understand what that chain needs to be. I mean, how you need to progress people along.
Do you suppose that they also start looking at some of the great places to live where these jobs are associated? I mean, is this 6.7 million job openings? Are they in Forgotten Fork, Wyoming? Where
they're all in San Francisco.
where it's winter 11 and a half months of the year?
No. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It is absolutely everywhere. But there are some places that are prohibitively expensive to live,
As
like
you said, San Francisco. Yeah,
it's almost
Seattle.
impossible to live there.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, well, in San Francisco, I read an article not too long ago. You got people there that are doing six figures and can't find a place to live anywhere within 50 miles of their job.
Right.
You know,
So you got it takes you can get the job, but it will take you 2.5 hours to get there in the morning and 2.5 hours to get home at night. I find while you're doing the extra point, I'll see if I had it up yesterday and I closed the screen on the browser, but I had it up yesterday. The app, they've got that poop app in San Francisco where somebody has been able to take all of the data on where it is in the city that people are pooping in the streets. Because they've got this major homeless problem out there, and not a whole lot by way of enforcement of some of those basic laws. So somebody's actually got an app where you can say, hey, do we want to go by this street today? No, maybe we'll take the other one because that one there is covered in human feces.
Oh, gosh.
I know it. That's a great way to get into the program this morning. It's 7:23 and time for Jerry Roberts to bring you the Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and our friends over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Today, 31 rules for the workplace, things you'll do and others you won't. And if you follow these rules, you'll be seen as a leader. Those 31 rules are next on the Extra Point.
It's like the ice cream of Extra Points.
Exactly.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United Credit Card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United Credit Card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Okay, 31 rules for the workplace. Just listen, then download the transcript from the Extra Point number 339 at GuamTraining.com, which will be up there in about 15 minutes. Not there yet. Number 1, don't cook smelly food in the kitchen or break room. 2, don't wear too much fragrance. 3, don't play your personal music so loud it bothers other people. 4, never shake anyone's hand sitting down. 5, when shaking hands, grip firmly and look them in the eye. 6, before sitting down to a negotiation, know exactly what you want and what you're willing to give up to get it. 7, when entrusted with a secret, keep it. 8, hold your leaders to a high standard and hold yourself to a higher one. 9, give your work everything you've got. 10, have the courage of your convictions. As the saying goes, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. 11, support your fellow workers and be happy for their successes. 12, be like a duck, remain calm on the surface and paddle like crazy underneath. 13, when networking, make sure to greet and talk with the most successful people in the room. If you don't know who they are, ask the organizer. 14, never turn down a breath mint just because. 15, write the story of the rest of your career, starting from right now. 16, every chance you get, find ways to honor veterans. You get to do your work because they did their work. In particular, talk with the older ones. Listen to their stories. 17, eat lunch with a new worker. After their first day or week, most people forget about them. You be the one who doesn't. 18, after writing an angry email, read it over carefully, then delete it. Here's the key to never getting burned by an angry email. Don't put in any recipient until you're sure you want to send it. 19, be polite to everyone. Nobody is beneath you, regardless of your position and title. 20, if you're a manager, let your team bask in the limelight of success. When things go wrong, push them out of the way and stand alone. They'll love you for it. 21, stand up against workplace bullies, protecting all those who get bullied. 22, write down your goals and update them constantly. 23, be confident and humble at the same time. Some folks have to work at this. 24, refuse to be ordinary. 25, in all things, lead by example, not by explanation. Remember this, winners never have to explain anything. 26, give your boss a break. It probably wasn't so long ago that he or she was sitting where you are thinking things about their boss, just like you are now. 27, never talk behind anyone's back. 28, good enough never is. 29, recruit a top-notch mentor. 30, done is better than perfect. And 31, treat company time like you were writing the checks and it was your money. There's a lot more that could be added. Feel free. Go ahead and download the transcript when I get it up there in about 15 minutes to see where you stand and what you might want to work on. That's the Extra Point. Get out there, make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Dude, that's another one of those home runs.
Thank you,
Hard to add to that. 30 with 30, just 31, and there could have been more. And I gotta applaud your there's a word I'm looking for. It's not in my head right now, but I'm going to applaud it anyway because you could have done an Extra Point riff on all 31 of those.
Oh, yeah.
You could have done 2 minutes on every single one.
And maybe I will.
And you might. Now there's a guy, Dennis Bensour. He's online right now with number 32.
Okay.
Which is always wear clothes at work.
I like that one.
A happy thing to remember as you're making your way to the office. Fragrance neutrality is also, I think, kind of important, whether it's in the kitchen or whether it's on your body. Usually, just one squirt of whatever perfume or cologne is all you need for the workplace. It's not like you're going to church today. So there is the other one. So another 15-20 minutes. We'll have that uploaded on the on the website GuamTraining.com on the World Wide Web. Now, I promised that I would get this up because I think it's probably going to be one of the more telling things. We were talking about obviously opportunities for work in the state. 6.7 million jobs that they've got, and only 6.4 million people in the workplace to be able to fill those jobs. And we were talking about different places where you might want to go and live. There might be an affordable place, might have a Kmart, might have a Chick-fil-A or a Moose Burger or Whataburgers that my buddy Michael is always crazy about. And then you've got other places, your Seattle's, your Portland's, your San Francisco's that are nice places to live, but very, very expensive. And unfortunately, the case is with San Francisco having some real public health issues and vagrancy issues and homelessness issues, where they've got more people than they've got bathrooms. And so people have taken to resorting to dumping outside. And there is somebody that put together an app where it tracked all of the call-ins to the police department for these non-crime issues. And this is a picture of one of them right now. This is the greater San Francisco area. And I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but over by the Mission District and up through that place, it is a solid chunk of brown. You can take a look at it. That's what it looks like on Facebook Live.
Ouch.
Ouch. Ouch. Right? Fortunately, we don't have that problem here. I wanted to make that a statement, but it sort of comes out of question. I'm not stepping in anything that I'm aware of, but I wonder, as we talk about the homeless that we've got here on Guam and the people that are kind of walking around between, say, the Paseo and Hulali and then back, and they make this little circuit, I've got to ask the question, where are they going when they need to go?
I just got a thing on the LA Times yesterday. They're talking about bathrooms for the homeless. And I think they're coming out at get this, if I read it right, they're coming out at $300,000 a copy. That's what I think I read.
That's why there's not enough of them, because they cost so much.
It was $300,000. What would that look like? But that's what apparently it was. Yeah, I think so.
Curious as to what the nature of our problems are around here. If there is a problem, it's certainly not getting reported to the same kind of numbers that they've got there. That's Jerry Roberts in today's Extra Point. Coming up a little bit later, we'll talk about a missive from the Department of Labor, Dave Del Solo, with a reminder to anybody that thinks that if I'm paying you $4 an hour and you make the rest of it in tips, $4.25 an hour, we make the rest of it in tips, then we're square with the laws of the government of Guam. Guess what? That ain't the case. We'll talk about that and more. It's 7:32, and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: the Leon Guerrero administration is waiting in vain for the release of the names of Guam's World War II survivors who have already been awarded reparations. That, according to Congressman Michael San Nicolas. Adelup will not get any list of names, said the congressman. It is confidential, he said. Janela Carrera, the governor's communications director, on Monday said the administration is waiting for those names to be released before they finalize a plan to use local funds to pay out war reparations to the survivors before the 75th anniversary of the liberation on July 21st. However, San Nicolas said waiting for a list of names underscores that the administration has not vetted their proposal at all. Although recipients of reparation awards can identify themselves, the decisions made by the Foreign Claims Settlement Commission are listed by case number only. To date, San Nicolas said 622 Manamco are set to receive $10,000 in settlements each. However, no checks have been issued yet because of an error in the legislation submitted by former delegate Madeline Bordallo. San Nicolas and the governor's office are working on separate plans to get those checks released. The investigation into an alleged relationship between a student and a junior ROTC instructor at George Washington High School has now been completed, and the Guam Department of Education anticipates issuing a statement on the results of the investigation by next week, according to Guam DOE Superintendent John Fernandez. Guam DOE has not named the junior ROTC instructor and describes him only as a school employee, citing confidentiality issues. We want to make sure we're abiding with the proper guidelines on what's confidential and what's public, said Fernandez. The instructor was removed from the high school after a student filed a misconduct complaint. George Washington High principal Linda Hernandez Avila was also removed from her position. Some teachers and parents at GW, however, say that the school administration has known about the relationship, as well as another relationship with a second student, both of whom were 18 years old at the time. A Department of the Army policy forbids improper relationships involving Army junior ROTC personnel with cadets or students taking part in the program. A number of elected officials are traveling off island this week. Governor Leon Guerrero is in Vail, Colorado, attending the annual Western Governors Association meeting. From there, she'll head to Fort Bliss, Texas, to visit Guam National Guard soldiers deployed there. Communications Director Janela Carrera says the governor is scheduled to return to Guam by next week. Meanwhile, Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes and Senators Kelly Marsh, Clint Rogel, and Tello Taidagui left island on Sunday for Taiwan, and they'll be back on Friday. They were invited by the Taiwan Foreign Affairs Department. The Taiwanese government is covering the cost of the trip for Barnes, Rogel, and Taidagui, according to a news release from the Speaker's office. However, Senator Marsh paid her own airfare with personal funds, according to a statement from her office. The U.S. federal government has a new policy encouraging U.S. government officials to travel to Taiwan to strengthen relations with Taiwan, according to the news release from the Speaker's office. Additionally, Guam holds a unique sister city relationship with Taipei, the capital of Taiwan, which was established back in 1973. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I got that. I sure will. It's 7:35 in the morning. Call iConnect at 888-8888 and ask them questions about, actually tell them how you use your cell phone and your mobile and your internet plan, and see if there's another plan that they have for you that isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg for the rest of the year. 888-8888.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. My buddy Randy says, go to North Dakota oil companies and you could make some serious money just by showing up because they've got of the 6.7 million jobs that are out there. I guess some roughnecking up in that part of the country is among them. It is 7:37 and it's time to take a look at what's going on your roadways. The traffic gizmo has been cranking this morning, but not cranking with anything that I think is going to be slowing you down too much. Let me see where some of the action is right now. Looks like you might be looking at some traffic coming out of Route 3 on Marine Corps Drive. But it's not like there's an accident. It's just that there's a traffic light there. The intersection seems to be running clear once you get past that. Things looking pretty good on the way, all the way into downtown Agutnia area, into Tamuning area on Marine Corps Drive. Route 8 looking good. You might find a couple of spots over at the intersection 8, 10, and 16 that'll slow you down. A little bit of work getting through Sinahanya into the downtown Agutnia area, but once you're down the hill, everything should be all right right up until you get to where your job is. In and out of the area in front of Big Navy Hospital, you might see some traffic there. Speaking of Big Navy, traffic beginning to build up over there at the Pass and ID and in the coffee shop, and generally everybody trying to get into Big Navy at the same time. That's right now traffic at 7:38 here on The Point.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
No, it doesn't. I was telling Mike, somebody I wanted to talk to, and I said the topic is turtle tracking. He said, ooh, sounds kinky. No, it doesn't. It just, everything sounds kinky to you.
You know what they say? The feather isn't kinky, but the whole bird is.
That's right. Or as I like to say, it's only kinky the first time. It's 20 away from 8 o'clock in the morning. It makes me uncomfortable to have this kind of conversation in the middle of drive time. But I'm looking at some of the names. Looking at some of the names of my friends on Facebook Live, going, "Yeah, we've heard worse, Ray. Don't worry about it. Don't kid yourself." 888-825. And there's Troy Torres. And there he is, just chiming in this morning. What you up to, Troy? Did you leave the Candid News, or is that just a once-in-a-lifetime guest shot for Romeo? Melissa Salas Akimoto is online. Kenny Williams says traffic circles, roundabouts work so much better than traffic lights. They continue to work during power outages. Kenny, I don't know. There are times, virtually every time I've ever been to Cairns, Australia, and in fact, Kevin Kerrigan and I were there together once upon a time on an industry fam trip that at the time Continental Airlines threw for us, and it was interesting going through some of the what here would have been an expensive 4-way intersection that they were able to do with these roundabouts, and I looked at those things and I thought, how interesting would something like that be here on Guam, where you take a major intersection and make it so that, like I said, instead of having signal lights, you'd have you just people go into the roundabout and either come back out the way they came in, or make a turn right or left, or just go straight if they wanted to. And I thought it would be interesting to see something like that here. But I just
sounds confusing.
We've got, I'll jump into the water first. I'm a lousy driver. I'm not one of the guys. I don't know that I could be trusted in a roundabout situation. Look, I'm the guy. And try to ask any of the former Mrs. Gibsons, and they will tell you any trip that we've ever taken to the United States I'll pay for the rent-a-car, but I ain't driving it. When I went to North Carolina. And I thought, what'd be fun is if me and the old band, we always talked about, going on a road trip. And so I remember going out to North Carolina with him once. I had a trade show in Florida to go to, and I thought, hey, let's drive down. And when I said let's drive down, I meant Pop, drive down, because there's no way that I was going to. And it was a long stretch of road. It wasn't all that complicated. It's just that. I don't know. I kind of freak out. I get a little bit of performance anxiety, so I don't know that I would be one of those guys for whom a roundabout situation would be good for me. My car's got enough dings in it already.
I have quite literally driven across the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And?
Didn't do it all at once, but I went east down
Right.
to Key West at one point, and and then I went west out to the southwest at one point. Driving, Houston was my origination point both times. And so-
I don't know. It's not something that I feel like I'm compelled to do. I know some people, from around here that, as soon as they get to the States, that's the first thing they want to do is get behind the wheel and, freeway drive. And I'm not that guy. I like to kind of putter along in the outside lane, if you will. And if completely possible, let me take the surface streets. I don't need to go on the highways. Just scared of it
You
like
can
that.
do freeway drive right out here on Marine Corps Drive.
Everyone else
every
does.
day.
Yeah, so that was me jumping into it first. The rest of the line is there's a lot of suck drivers here on Guam that have absolutely no business getting driver's license, and based on some of the magistrate reports that I'm seeing, many of them don't have driver's licenses. They're just tall enough to hit the pedals, and that's all it takes. 7:43 in the morning, and there was a press release that came out from Director Cho and the folks over at the Department of Labor. Dave Del Sol is the actual director of the place, and a reminder that the minimum wage on Guam is $8.25 an hour. Period. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Ray. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I was always it's one of those things. I mean, I obviously, I pay everybody kind of a straight hour wage here at the radio station, but I'd always thought that, if I was working in a restaurant, or if I had people that was, were doing that kind of thing, I could give them a wage less than the minimum wage that would be augmented by tips and things like that. And apparently that ain't the case.
No, that's not the case. It used to be the case some years ago, but with the new minimum wage law that was passed, the language that allowed it was removed. So therefore, it's quite clear that $8.25 an hour, and you don't substitute or add or play around with that number to make it a minimum wage. It is $8.25 an hour.
And so I'm glad the press release went out, and part of this phone call is to help get the word out to managers and supervisors, generally in the food and beverage and hospitality business, that's not what's supposed to be happening with the wages.
Yes, that's correct. As I went out and I was eating, I'd been approached a couple times. The first time I kind of shrugged it off, but after a couple times, and somebody from the food industry came to me and said that they wanted to see parity in the way wait staff are being paid, that it wasn't fair, and he wouldn't give me any names. He just said, he just wants to get parity. And I said, all right, let me look into it. Let me pull out all the laws. Let me research it. I talked to, USDOL. I talked to GHRA. I talked to the AGs before I sat down and tried to write something that was as layman terms and as clear as possible that nobody can misunderstand, because some of the papers I read, I had to read like 10 times in order to try to decipher what exactly they're saying. And the conclusion is that tips cannot be used as part of your wages. Tips are the property of the employee, and the employer cannot touch them unless they go through credit cards. Then they're allowed to remove some of the transaction fee from the credit card, but it's given to the employee, and it's up to the employee to claim for taxes. And
can we back up on Dave? Can we back up on a couple of points? First of all, is if I was an employee and I was working at a restaurant and I was making less than $8.25 an hour, but was compensated handsomely in tips, there's still grounds to make a complaint and report. What is the appropriate way for somebody to do that? And I'd say that I'm sure that this is not affecting a lot of people listening, but maybe they've got kids, nieces, or nephews that are making their way and punching a clock, but not necessarily getting $8.25 an hour for it. How do we report this and not lose our jobs?
Well, there's the two simple ways. Is number one, and I always promote this way, is go to your employer and say that you're improperly paying me wrong and that you would like for it to be corrected,
right,
and straightened out. Maybe the employer just misunderstood. Maybe, give the benefit of the doubt. And if not, then all the employee has to do is make a call down to our wage and hour division and report it. Now, of course, that employee can give his name or doesn't have to give his name. If they report it, then we can go to the employer and say that we've gotten information and that we want you to pull out your books.
Mm-hmm.
And just wanted to do a quick review to see how your payments are being done to your wait staff. And we will do a quick audit. And if we determine that there are some improprieties, then we will do a deeper audit and make sure that it's all squared away.
What kind of penalties for the business if they're found to be shorting the employees? Is that something that you're going to go back on and maybe find ways to get damages?
Yes. The only penalty or violation that I can impose is a 12%, and that is if we collect the wages and have to distribute them. If the employer voluntarily says, "Oh, I'm sorry, let me correct it all. I'll give them the check out, in the next couple of days once I settle it," and takes care of it, then that takes care of the violation side of the equation. If I have to go in there and actually collect the money and distribute it, then I can collect a 12% fee for that.
Well, I mean, there could be penalties going back a couple of years in some cases.
It could be quite substantial. So it's,
no statute of limitations. If we catch you, you're going to need to make these employees whole going back all the way.
Well, it would go as far back, and I can't remember the exact year that the date was changed. Because before it used to be allowed.
Yeah.
And like 4 years ago or something like that, it was changed.
Let me go back on another point that you mentioned, that tips are the property of the employees. Now, I'm familiar and have heard from people that have likewise heard that there are some restaurants where the service charges, all of the tips, are pooled and then distributed among everybody, and that would include wait staff and bottle washers and chefs and a guy that takes out the trash. Is that process fair? Is there something that needs to be looked at there that delineates? I mean, if I am the server, is all of that tip mine?
Well, that's what actually made this story so complicated, is that you have to get all the exceptions to the rules and all that. That's called tip pooling, and tip pooling is allowed on Guam and in the U.S. So we do mirror that part of the federal law. And tip pooling is basically pre-agreed and is typically for all typically tipped staff. So you can't include a dishwasher in a tip pool. Typically, you can't include the employer in a tip pool. It has to be your.
Because I've heard that happens too. Is that the boss gets a share of the tips?
This is where it gets muddy, and where with legal stuff, there's always some exceptions. Now, the employer, I said, typically can't, because they don't typically wait on tables. They own the shop. They kind of oversee everything, and in that case, they do not touch it. Some of these small mom and pop stores where the wife waits the tables, the husband cooks, or vice versa, and they might have one waitress there too, and they both work equally, then that person is can be put into the tip pool.
Interesting.
But typically, the employer
would not
participate.
Interesting stuff here. So, what about service? What about service charges? I mean, what if I go eat at a restaurant and they charge me a 10% service charge, and the food was lousy and the service was worse? Can I not pay that?
No, that's the difference between a service charge and a tip. The service charge is a non-voluntary, predetermined amount, and is the property of the employer to decide on how he or she wants to distribute it. The employer can take all the service charge and keep it, put it amongst all the rest of the revenue, and utilize that for paying out wages. Or you can give it give it directly to the employee or the waiter, but has to tax it
because it's not a tip. It's coming out of their till, not the tip jar.
So a tip is something that is voluntarily given, and voluntarily the amount is determined, and it is the property of the employee to keep, and that employee has to pay the taxes. The service charge is collected, made part of the gross receipts. The business has to pay their taxes on it, and if it's given to the employee, it's treated like a commission, or it is in addition to their wages.
But it doesn't. But it doesn't have to be, though. It doesn't have to be. I mean, the employer can keep it all.
You can keep it all, make it part of their operating expenses, and use that to be paying their wages.
If they want
There's
to.
a backdoor way of paying the wages.
If they want to, they could use that buy gasoline for the Lexus.
Yeah, so, what I typically do is when I'm in a restaurant and I see there's a service charge, I just say, I call my waiter over and say, hey, how much of this service charge do you get?
Right.
And if they say I get all of it, then I can tip less. If they say they get none of it, then I would, tip them appropriately if they gave me the good service.
Right. Because unfortunately, the way I look at it is if there's a 10% service charge and the typical tip in that location would be $15 or 15%, I'd give the restaurant 10% and then tip the waiter 5%. And unfortunately, that money might not always go to that waiter.
It might not go at all. Like I said, it could be just kept and. Greedy and not a greedy, but that's just the policy.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the policy, and then that's.
Our policy is greed. Thank you very much. Did you like the food? Our policy is greed. We just didn't write it down anywhere. That is some really interesting stuff.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure before we go out there and start enforcing it that it is as clear as possible, that there is no misunderstanding, and that corrections better be made. And employees better be taken care of, so that when we go out there, there won't be any leeway or, that you haven't been forewarned.
Yeah, this is the nice way of saying that here comes demand, and you better be ready for it. And there might be a surprise inspection. They might have the opportunity to welcome a view of the books. 475-7044. 475-7044. If you want more, if you're the business owner and nobody's giving you a hard time yet, might be a good idea to get a hold of Dave or somebody over there and get the actual splains on this. If you are an employee that has complained in the past and still feel like you're getting ripped off, let me give you another telephone number, 475-7044. Sounds the same because it was the same. It's the same trick with the Department of Labor. Before I let you run, just real quick, you've got a class coming up in the next couple of days on how to deal with employees that might have a blemish on their criminal record, and you've got to be fair in the treatment of that. Just real quick, how does that work?
That's the fair chances,
Mm-hmm.
and basically it depends on your business size. That if you're a larger business, when a person applies, you can't ask for a police record. You can't ask if they've been incarcerated until after you're ready to offer them the job.
Right.
And that's just the plain and simple of it. There's a lot of little nuances, but in layman's terms, if you offer the job, then that employee has is supposed to disclose that, okay, thank you for offering me the job, but I have a police record or this or that. You can't be offering it as soon as they walk in the door and they're applying. You say, okay, I want all your police clearances and your court clearances.
It's still a common practice around here.
Yeah.
And now if I offer the guy the job and he comes back and he says, well, I was in there, I had an ice problem and I was stealing corned beef from my employer, can I then rescind my offer?
If you feel that, if this person's handling money, if this person is yes, you can for cause. You just can't. It's just to try to give the offender a fair chance to get a look at their application and get to the front there and be given the chance to compete for the job. And, like anything, the employer can make the ultimate decision if he or she feels that record. If it's a nonviolent offense or something, then, you shouldn't be doing that.
It's got to be for cause. And now, if I got questions, I can call you and tell you what I think the cause is, and you can tell me whether I got grounds.
That's always a safe bet to do. But if the person was for burglary and stealing money, and this is a cashier type job, then, common sense and will always be the general rule.
Gotcha. And the old rule applies: if the person's crazy, you don't have to hire him. All right, 7:57. Dave, it's always fun talking with you. We'll get around to doing this again soon.
Always. Thank you, Ray.
The Department of Labor, and that's the nice way of saying this is something that we're looking at now, businesses, and if we get complaints from your employees, that we will come by and take an audit.
It should be noted that it's against the law to not hire someone because they're crazy. That's under the Medical Protection Act.
Is it?
Yep. It's like being pregnant.
I don't know.
Can't not hire them because they're pregnant.
Sometimes there are times in my career as a supervisor and manager where I'd wished I'd known what the level of crazy was going in before I offered the job. And sometimes it's just, well, yeah, what a kooky crazy person it is. And then sometimes you go, wow, what a nut job. How do I get rid of this one? It's 7:58 and change on the program, closing in on 8 o'clock in the morning. And again, could be an interesting hour ahead of us just to hear what Blake's got to say about the Matau and the victory over Bhutan there. 5-0 in that one, and Facebook went a little bit wild. There were people that were there. Frankly, I feel like a doofus because I thought it was one of those things where they were playing actually in Bhutan or something like that. I didn't realize that was taking place right up there in Dededo. Just had no idea whatsoever until I started seeing people that were posting on Facebook live feeds of what was going on, and a lot of them were real shaky feeds of the video because they were so excited about the idea that Guam was going to win this pretty big deal in the football/soccer world. So we'll talk about that. Also possible we might get some baseball, Guam baseball royalty in the studio to just chat about their experiences. There's a recommendation from my pal, Dr. Vince Akimoto, who said, you got to interview this guy. And, well, you know what? Why not? We'll see what happens in the next hour of the program. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnia. Coming up, I got Fox News Live and Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post with all of the important news for today. There's 35 seconds to go. Do I have time to tell you what dads actually want for Father's Day? Probably not. Probably not. I'll tell you what, it won't cost you anything. I'll give you details in the next hour of the program. Stick around, bro.
Measure passed. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The House takes action on subpoenas for the Attorney General and former White House counsel. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
The House Judiciary Committee is now empowered to take former White House counsel Don McGahn and Attorney General William Barr to court to enforce subpoenas related to the special counsel's Russia investigation.
We're not going to go to court against the Attorney General so long as they, in good faith, do what they've said they were going to do.
That's all we wanted.
Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler explaining what happens next after a straight party line vote in the House made it easier for committees to file lawsuits against witnesses who defy subpoenas. A list that includes McGahn, who was issued a subpoena for his testimony to the committee. Lisa.
Jared, President Trump and Democratic frontrunner, former Vice President Joe Biden, holding dueling rallies in Iowa. The president again taking jabs at Biden.
He was someplace in Iowa today, and he said my name so many times that people couldn't stand it anymore. No, don't keep saying it. Sleepy guy.
The president in the Council bluffs. Biden has called the president divisive.
The guy who was a foreign policy writer said, let America be America again. Well, you know what? We talk about the fact that let's make America great again. I'd settle for just let America be American again.
Biden is now in Mount Pleasant. Former Daily Show host and longtime 9/11 first responder advocate Jon Stewart taking members of Congress to task for failing to ensure the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund never runs out of money.
They attacked America and these men and women, and their response to it is what brought our country back.
Stewart is expected to appear before members of the Senate tomorrow. This is Fox News.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United Credit Card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United Credit Card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, piggy bank.
Terms and conditions apply. GTA, we start with you.
The estranged husband of a missing Connecticut mom has posted a $500,000 bond after appearing in court today.
Fotis Doulos and his girlfriend Michelle Troconis both entered not guilty pleas related to Jennifer Doulos, who's been missing nearly 3 weeks. Both are charged with evidence tampering and hindering prosecution. Doulos' attorney, Norm Pattis, says his client doesn't know where his ex-wife is and wants his day in court.
We are resolute and determined to try this case, and we believe fully that our client will be exonerated.
Troconis posted bail last week. Doulos will be monitored and must give up his passport. At the hearing, prosecutors say they are investigating DNA evidence that puts Doulos in his ex-wife's home where he did not live. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Former Red Sox slugger David Ortiz recovering in Mass General Hospital after being shot over the weekend in the Dominican Republic.
His wife putting out a statement a little earlier this morning through the Red Sox. Tiffany Ortiz writing, David arrived at Mass General Hospital last night and underwent a successful second surgery. He is stable, awake, and resting comfortably this morning in the ICU, where he's expected to remain for the next several days. Tiffany Ortiz went on to thank the team, the Red Sox owners, leadership, doctors, and staff here at Mass General. She thanks everyone for their outpouring of support and calls for privacy during her husband's recovery. The couple have been married some 17 years. They have 2 children. Ortiz also has a daughter from a prior relationship. This investigation ongoing after the 43-year-old father was ambushed in one of the baseball legend's representatives calling an act of hired killers.
Fox's Molly Line in Boston. Singer Steve Lawrence has revealed he's been diagnosed with the early stages of Alzheimer's disease. His diagnosis confirmed by his spokesman, saying that he felt the need to speak out in light of recent rumors. The 83-year-old singer says he doesn't want pity or sympathy, saying he has lived his life filled with love, support, and amazing moments. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumama. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Governor Lulian Guerrero telling the Associated Press in a recent interview that her administration is trying to recruit a doctor to perform abortions on Guam. Jane Flores, the director of the Bureau of Women's Affairs at the governor's office, said she was tasked with that effort in order to ensure women on Guam have a choice. Flores also said the effort is part of a larger plan to promote responsible sex. Dr. William Freeman was the last of 2 doctors who performed abortions on island. He retired in 2018. No other physicians on island currently perform abortions. Flores said we need to have someone who can do the procedure in cases of rape or incest. The other side of that coin, she said, is we're working on a campaign for responsible sex. The Archdiocese of Agana is expressing concern. In a statement, the Archdiocese appealed to the governor to respect life from conception and defend innocent babies. And Dr. Tom Shea said he would like to see Adelup working to recruit other doctors, those who do procedures that will help save lives, like pediatric surgeons or interventional cardiologists. The Guam Department of Labor is reporting that some businesses are illegally using tips or service charges, or a combination of both, to supplement their service staff's salaries in order to reach the minimum wage of $8.25 an hour on Guam. In a release, Guam DOL Director David De La Sola says the discrepancy was brought to his attention by local business owners. However, he points out Guam law states tips cannot be used as wages, and service charges cannot be used to supplement the minimum wage either. De La Sola says everyone in the service industry has to be paid at least $8.25 an hour for the hours they work during each pay period. There are no exceptions and no substitutes, wait staff and bartenders included, said De La Sola. However, Mary Rhodes, the president of the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association, says the 2015 minimum wage law is the likely cause of the current confusion. The language before 2015 was $7.25 an hour with tips and gratuities, she said. The new law merely states that the minimum wage is $8.25 an hour. We'll have more news after this.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic in Pika's Best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at FHPGuam.com.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it? I'll take a book club. Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, The Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The Leon Guerrero administration is waiting in vain for the release of the names of Guam's World War II survivors who've been awarded reparations, according to Congressman Michael San Nicolas. Adelup will not get any list of names, said San Nicolas. It is confidential. Janela Carrera, the governor's communications director, said on Monday the administration is waiting for those names to be released before they finalize a plan to use local funds to pay out war reparations to the survivors before the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Guam on July 21st. However, waiting for a list of names, said San Nicolas, underscores that the administration has not vetted their proposal at all, he said. Although recipients of reparation awards can identify themselves, the decisions made by the Foreign Claims Settlement Commission are listed by case number only. To date, San Nicolas said 622 Monopco are set to receive $10,000 settlements each. However, no checks have been issued yet because of an error in the legislation submitted by former Delegate Madeline Bordallo. San Nicolas and the governor's office are working on separate plans to get those checks issued as soon as possible. The now deceased Monsignor Jose Ada Leon Guerrero, who served as a Catholic priest on Guam and Saipan, is being accused of coaxing a teenage girl into drinking wine and then raping her after she fell asleep. That, according to the latest lawsuit filed in district court against the Capuchin Franciscans and the Archdiocese of Agana. The lawsuit was filed by a woman using the initials MJR to protect her identity. She alleges that the incident occurred on the second floor of the Sagrada Familia Catholic Church in Asin, where Monsignor Leon Guerrero resided as a parish priest. The girl was 13 at the time, and she was attending a study club at the parish when the alleged incident occurred. The lawsuit seeks $5 million in damages. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
It says here, partly cloudy skies. Look for some isolated showers in today's forecast. Also, the possibility of winds blowing about 15 miles an hour, coming out of the east, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs warm at 90 degrees. Overnight low should be about 79 degrees. For those of you thinking maybe we're going to lurk outside someplace and see if we can catch a groovy sunset, 6:48 is when the sun should go down under the plane here. Sunrise at 5:53 this morning. Possibility that there might be green flash. Well, considering there's not much going on the horizon, we'll take a look at the weather radar here from the National Weather Service. Michael Knight will interpret it for you.
Yeah, with lack of cloud cover, your green flash possibilities are always increased. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, radar not showing very much. You do have some stuff passing to the south. You should note that with winds at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, there's a possibility, and it might be our best possibility for rain, would be some island effect showers. And this happens when a slow wind pushes the moisture over the island. And, of course, the heat of the island lifts up the rain or lifts up the moisture, and then it turns into a little shower. It usually affects the west side of the island.
Right.
And so I'm guessing, anywhere along the western shore, you might see some of that action going on. But it's not guaranteed. Basically, a mostly dry pattern. If you get a shower, you're lucky. Looking at satellite, we'll see why. We're kind of in a dry spot here in between blovages, as you were. ITCZ down to the south, and we've got frontal activity up to the northwest. None of it really coming here right now. So just expect a warm and nice muggy day out there, and just hope you get a shower or two.
I got you. It's 8:13 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Raymond Gibson Show here on 93.3 The Point, brought to you by a whole bunch of people, including my friends over at Cars Plus. You're going to love what they've got lined up for you. It's performance days, if you will, over there. Charger SXT Plus, 1.99% APR. Does that fit your wallet? I thought it might. And the Challenger GT, 1.99% APR. Yeah, I bet you they can make that fit for you. So check it out over there. Also, the guys over at King's Restaurant, where they've got the Crazy 19 menu, but they're flipping the script on me here. I've got the breakfast value menus that they're also promoting. Vienna sausage and eggs. Tocino and eggs. Oh, my God, I love that. Spam and egg sandwich on Hawaiian bread, $6.99. Great meals, great value. Find them in Tamuning and Harmon. Always open and always local. The program also brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future, and Micronesia Renewable Energy, where there's never been a better time to go solar.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data-to-Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The U.S., China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data-to-Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Got sports coming your way in a second. Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title. You got complex real estate transactions. They know how to uncomplex them for you. And my buddies over at Take Care, taking a look at some of the cool things that they're doing with lifestyle rewards and more. Give them a call if you don't currently have them as your insurance carriers. Maybe you should try it. Greg Carabach's the name of the guy to talk to.
Any speaker, anytime. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Chief, where were you on to go? Kimosabe, 8:16 in the morning, and here I am, and I mentioned this last hour. Didn't realize that the game that the Matau were playing against Bhutan was going to be here on Guam. So I'm sitting around going, "Where's the link? Where's the link?" And actually, the link was on Facebook. A bunch of people out there yesterday that were doing Facebook Live from the actual field right there in Datadu. And with details on that is our own sports guy Blake. It's time for Sports Week, Blake.
Sports is always better after a bong.
Hey, Sahara Defensor's birthday today.
Who?
Sahara Defensor. She works for Mike Nicholas in Washington, D.C., and needs to come out to Guam a whole lot more.
Oh.
Just because.
Okay.
Fun like that.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, Sahara. And big listener and supporter of the show.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Yes, the Matau did, as the Post put it, slay Bhutan. They pretty much dominated them in what was an offensive attack that the Matau in the past under other coaches haven't really been known for. But the head coach Carl Dodd did say that's what they were changing. The philosophy may have been defensive minded, but we need to be on the front foot and take the game to them. They win 5-0, and Captain Matau himself, Jason Cunliffe, who is a long-standing Matau member, he got his first hat trick on the world stage. So those three plus two others, and they take it to Bhutan.
Considering how hard it is to get 1 point in soccer.
Especially on the international level.
Yeah, I mean, we got one guy that got 3 in there.
Yeah, Jason Cunliffe, who's been on the team for a long time, and very good player, and so congratulations to him and the rest of the Matau.
These guys from Bhutan, were they overcome by the heat to travel, or what?
I don't know. It was a quick turnaround. I mean, it was.
You're not supposed to ask that question.
It was only 5 days.
It's like digging around for or did we play a slacker team? Were they weak because
they beat the
Matau
in Bhutan
they did.
3 days ago, right?
5 days ago, yeah. A week ago, it was 1-0. Not even a week ago. So yeah, then
and our guys were overcome by the altitude.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So they win yesterday, and it's a big deal because it's all the let's see here, it's the first round matchup, and it's all for qualification for of course the FIFA World Cup in Qatar or Qatar in 2022, and even more importantly, closer because it would be nice to qualify for the World Cup, obviously, but the AFC Asian Cup 2023 preliminary joint qualification, the Matau has been there before, so that's a big deal. The AFC Cup as well.
Now, Now, is there going to be? Will there be more world-class soccer played on Guam soon?
Yeah. So anytime that I don't know when exactly, I don't see it here, but I know that now that they've started the leg of it, that means that any team that they play, just kind of like in the past, it will be a home and home. So if they travel to, let's say, India, that means in 5 days they're all coming back, to play here.
But okay, but it's not like we're going to have other teams besides Guam coming to play out here in this venue.
Yeah, we will. Whoever they play.
No, but I mean,
not each other. Oh no.
Yeah.
No, we've had that before.
It's not like we'll have China and Singapore or something, right?
No. We have hosted, GFA has hosted tournaments like that before. I think it was the FIFA Girls Tournament where Guam was already qualified for the next round, but they still held, so yeah, there was like Macau played Hong Kong and Taiwan played NMI and all that.
It's always interesting. I mean, we've got our own guys, right? But all of a sudden when we start talking about who's playing what at the world stage level, it's really, really interesting. So do we get to go from here and have a conversation about the Olympics with any of these guys?
I don't know, because is soccer Olympic sport? I don't know.
I'll ask the sports guy.
I mean, obviously.
I've seen that. Okay, you're asking me?
I don't think it is, because I think because that's happening before 2022, and it seems that everybody's got their eyes on the next men's.
Well, it doesn't
FIFA's
need
World
to be
Cup.
an Olympic deal because there is FIFA. I mean, they're already competing at kind of a global stage.
Right. The World Cup, I guess, is the Olympics for soccer.
Okay, 21 after the hour. Anything else big going on here?
We do. Let's see here. What was I gonna? You know what? We do have two events coming up. Shout out to Kaz. One is the 5K Zombie Chase.
He's coming in, I think, tomorrow to talk about it. If not tomorrow, then Friday he'll come in and talk about that.
Okay, cool. So we can talk more about it. But yeah, it's just cool because I think he talked about it the last time he was here.
It's going to do little kids.
Yeah, Zombie Chase. There's going to be zombies, just like we were talking about with the Conquer event over in, where were they in? Saipan?
They were up in Saipan before Guam, and then I think we're going down to Palau.
For like a whole weekend, I think.
That's the one that I'm going to do everything I can to get down to. And one of the things that I'm going to do while I'm gone is to meet up with the guys over at Resorts World Manila, RWM, and we're good friends with each other, and they hang out here when the guy's in town, and when I go to the Philippines, I hang out over there. So one of the things that we're going to work on is they've got an anniversary. I want to say it's a 5-10K half marathon that's going to be coming up at Resorts World Manila, and so we're going to have a conversation about me going out there and kind of ambassadoring for Guam.
Oh, cool.
And running as fast as I possibly can in the I think it's going to be in the muggy August heat in Manila.
It's kind of always muggy in Manila.
Downtown Pasay, it's very, very nice there. A couple of 5Ks on the list. The Rotary Club 5K, 2K 5K, going to be taking place this weekend. 5 o'clock in the morning is showtime. Go time at 6 o'clock over at Chamorro Village. And this is going to be another race that's going to be just as much fun a couple of weeks from now. Saturday, July the 6th, the Guam National Guard 2K 5K Tautau Mona Run, Walk, Stroll is going to be taking place. This one here I like more because it's at the Guam Premier Outlets. We don't do a lot of races from down there. In fact, even the Guard doesn't do races every year from there. They go back and forth between there and a couple of other venues, but they're using GPO as their venue for the July 6th weekend, which is awesome because it's an interesting course. You go out of GPO, and then you run towards Marine Corps Drive, and then it's downhill to Hospital Road, and then it's a lot of people don't. Then it's straight up and then through St. Anthony and back down. A lot of people don't realize that there's a decent incline through there that you've got to be aware of, and then it's up towards St. Anthony, and then downhill a little bit, and then there's another uphill. Most people will forget. Keep some gas in your tank for that one, just as you pass what used to be Dedzima, what is now the Community First Federal Credit Union. Once you're past that, you're gold.
Yeah, just keep in mind, though, once you get to Shirley's, you need to take the pepper spray out of your pocket and keep it at the ready.
Is that what goes in that
Running
area?
past my place and down to, once you get to St. Anthony's, and it's okay.
Dave Evans says there will be a new pool draw soon to determine who we play in round number 2. And Nate Horn said, yes, soccer is in the Olympics.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Nice to know we've got some subject matter experts out there. Dave Evans says, guaranteed 8 games with 4 of them on Guam.
Right, yeah. So they're each, and regardless of who we play, we go there and then they'll come here.
So Dave, if there's going to be more games being played here on Guam, Carlos Barreto also online saying it's unfortunate they didn't get the word out on the stream. He's a Matua supporter. Is it possible that somebody like Carlos Barreto might be able to go and take some of his equipment out there and shoot some video and play the stream out?
From what I I know because I used to do some work with GFA in that capacity. They have their own stuff, so they probably set up their own. I mean, like they have their own cameras and everything.
I don't know, because I remember a couple of other guys. I want to say they tried that at KUAM. Just went out there with some digital gear and shot. And I thought that there could have been more made with that, sponsorship and things like that. A little bit more color commentary.
I think also in the
production.
Past, they've had some. I think a Japanese company came out and broadcast, and they had like they were like. Well, I think I remember them being one of the first ones. They were kind of contracted by GFA because they had nice equipment and stuff.
I've been kind of amazed since my arrival here at just how negligent the media is in terms of sports broadcasting. That's my thing, man. That's one of my things that I actually do pretty well.
It's
sports play-by-play.
You know what? There's just no. We don't have the ENG backup that a lot of markets have to do live coverage of practically anything. Yeah. But that's changing. That will change here, and I'll tell you what's going to cause it to change. It's the fact that there is so much broadband that is out now, and it used to be if you needed something like that, you needed a production truck and you needed $10,000 cameras and switching gear, and anymore. I mean, you can get away with. I want to say if you really want to get fancy now, you could probably get away with it for about $5,000 or $6,000 to buy the equipment, and then you hook up with somebody to provide you broadband back to the radio station or the television station. That will change over the years, and then it will be a question of how do you keep people away now that they've got all of the semi-pro equipment that's going to be out there. Interesting conversation that we heard on Fox News a couple of hours ago. If you live in Samoa, you will not be able to see the Elton John biopic called Rocket Man.
Why?
Because they said there's too much gay in it.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. Elton John movie Rocket Man banned in Samoa due to homosexual content. The story here is Samoa's principal censor, Leatua Niuapu.
Bless you.
Thank you. Said his office was simply abiding by the Film Control Act of 1978. When asked if the regulations needed to be updated for 2019, he simply said the film was just not suitable. Under Samoa's film classification guide, films that include explicit sexual activity, explicit sexual violence, promotion of drugs, or offense to religions are subject to a ban. The move comes after Sir Elton John slammed Russia for they played the movie in Russia, but they took out all the sex scenes, and so Elton John slammed them for that. Mr. Kensington said blocking LGBT themes was consistent with other censorship screenings that goes on. He says that's something we always talk. We've always had to censor out, even if it's just a little kiss between two people of the same sex. They'll take it out, or they'll just ban the film completely.
Yeah. As Americans, this is just, this is preposterous,
Really?
But in many parts of the world.
2019, I think everybody's gay, aren't they? It's just everybody got a little bit of something in there. We just had the big Pride festivities that took place over the last couple of weeks here on Guam. So it is juxtaposed with that in recent headlines on Guam. That is interesting. Again, it's not here. It's going to be in Samoa that they're not going to be able to watch it. You want a piece of good news?
Yes, please.
Here's a clipping of good news. It's a publication notice in accordance with the provisions of Guam Code Annotated Title 11, Chapter 3. Now, there are people in the business world that are going, I know exactly what that is. That's the one where we go before the Alcohol and Beverage Control Board and say we'd like a license and a permit to be able to sell alcohol at our location. Are you ready for the people that are asking for it?
Yes.
Guam Brewing Company, DBA Carabao Brewing.
Oh.
That's the new place going up in Agana.
I hear 2 craft breweries is what I hear. Man, like meaning they're both craft breweries. So that's good. That means that they're multiplying the craft breweries.
Well, no, it's the same company. So Guam Brewing Company does business as Carabao Brewing Company. And yeah, they're going to be coming out apparently with their craft brew stuff from inside there.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it used to be the old Mermaid Tavern.
Right.
Yeah, so
right.
They've gone out there, gutted the whole place. That I know of, they are recycling the vault door. I think you can see it from the road.
You know, they and they're doing something with it. My suggestion was always that they should glass it in. They should just, like glass the walls, and so you can see through it, make it like a wine cellar. Because the vault is right in the middle of the whole restaurant.
Well, it used to be a bank once upon a time. A lot of people might remember that once upon a time that was a bank, but it is now going to be a microbrewery pub / restaurant doing business as Carabao Brewing in the old Mermaid Tavern place. I'm kind of excited to hear that
they're doing some sausages too. Like they're going to specialize in sausages.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Like German sausage, brats.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, wursts.
So you didn't tell me, but there's a new Modern Times out there.
I didn't know.
There's a new Modern...
You're telling me.
7%.
Ooh, 7%. Is it in the yellow can?
It is the one in the yellow can. When you pour
I've
it out,
seen it.
Yeah, you pour it out, it comes out yellow too.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting flavor on that one. And the crazy thing is, even at 7%, can't stop at 1. Just FYI, take that as your warning. Something to do while you're watching sports on television. Is there any big sports coming up this weekend other than what we talked about?
There is. Because the Raptors lost by 1 point, so that means we have another game of the finals. Because the Warriors still have a little bit of life, although Kevin Durant did go down again. They believe he torn Achilles. He's probably done. Shouldn't have come back.
Yeah. When does that end? Because it seems we've been talking about this forever.
It should have ended yesterday, but it didn't because, like I said, the Raptors couldn't close them out and put them out of their misery. So that means we're going to go to Oakland on Thursday, which I guess is Friday morning for us. And that'll be game 6. And if Oakland wins, then we go one more. Or if Toronto wins, we're done, and it's over.
That's why I always look forward to my birthday.
Isn't the new season starting soon? Don't they have to hurry up because the next season
training camp's
start?
next week. Training camp start. They got to report next week for training.
Yeah, NBA season's always over by the time my birthday gets here, which is good because who cares?
It's 8:31 in the morning. There's Michael Knight talking and Blake Watson. That's all the time that we've got to pretend to talk about sports here this morning. Got headlines with Kevin Kerrigan on the way.
When it comes to power and performance, nothing compares to Dodge. And right now at Cars Plus in Mighty, you can save thousands on many Dodge vehicles in stock during our Dodge Performance Days. Like a new 2019 Grand Caravan SE, save $4,250 or save $6,150 on a new Durango SXT. Looking for more power? Take home a new Charger SXT Plus today for only $37,689 or save over $7,000 on a new Challenger GT. Get more power and performance at Cars Plus in Mighty during Dodge Performance Days. Cars Plus, driven by you.
Yeah, that was the most important question. Yeah, as Blake walking out the door, and you think we'd be talking about something else. He says, yellow can, right? Is that an IPA? Yes, it is. You might want to give it a shot. It's 8:32 in the morning and about time for headlines. Our last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post with Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, a number of elected officials are traveling off-island this week. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero is in Vail, Colorado, attending the annual Western Governors Association meeting. From there, she'll head to Fort Bliss in Texas to visit Guam National Guard soldiers deployed there. Communications Director Janela Carrera says the governor is scheduled to return next week. Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes, meanwhile, and Senators Kelly Marsh, Clint Rogel, and Tello Taitigui left island Sunday for Taiwan. They'll be back this Friday. They were invited by the Taiwan Foreign Affairs Department. The Taiwanese government is covering the cost of the trip for Barnes, Rogel, and Taitigui, according to a news release from the Speaker's office. However, Senator Marsh paid her own airfare with personal funds, according to a statement from her office. The first in a series of town hall meetings in the wake of last week's machete attack takes place tonight in the village where it happened. The mayor of Manilao, Alan Ungata, said he is hoping that we get some positive dialogue and see if we can come to an understanding and try to get some of these issues resolved, he said. The meeting will take place in the Manilao Community Center at 6 o'clock tonight. The initiative was one of the ideas that came out of the emergency meeting called by the governor last week, the day after 7 vehicles were damaged and their drivers terrorized when they were attacked by at least 2 men, one of whom was armed with a machete. The 75th Guam Liberation Committee has announced that this year's 2019 Liberation Queens have raised a total of $193,043. The funds they raised will go to help out in the memorials and prayer services, as well as this year's 75th Liberation Parade. The 75th Liberation Queen is 20-year-old Regina Gloria Duenas of Santa Rita, who alone raised $67,190. She is the daughter of Frank and Yolanda Mendiola Duenas. She was sponsored by the Santa Rita Mayor's Office. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Santa Rita Mayor's Office going to be a force to reckon with this liberation. They have won multiple times and several times in a row the float competition, and now the queen of the Liberation Court comes from Santa Rita.
They're doing liberation right.
$67,000. Now, how much did you say they raised in total?
100,000 plus. Let's see what that figure is. It's in the email.
Because I'm trying to sort out whether she is now responsible for better than half of what they raised in total.
Yep, she is. She did a great job.
Outstanding work there. 8:35 in the morning. 888-825-5888-TALK. That's Kevin Kerrigan. Let me give you another phone number, 888-8888. Just hit the button, the number 8 as many times until somebody answers the phone, and they'll say, thanks for calling iConnect. Can we help you? And the answer is, yeah, I'd like to get out from under paying big bills for my internet and my mobile plan. They've got some great plans. So again, 888-8888.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Your home is one of the most important investments you'll make in your life. At Nanbo Insurance, you can rest easy knowing that you're covered with reliable and affordable homeowners insurance. Nanbo makes it easy to protect what matters the most so you can enjoy the moments that matter the most. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
I was looking at the traffic gizmo a second ago, seeing if there was anything that might slow you down. The answer is yeah, depending on where you are, you might have some issues. 4 and 10 looking a little bit busy this morning. Weird run-ins up on Route 15. Once you get past the prison area and make your way through the village here, you might run into some strange stop-and-go traffic out there. Is that all the speed bumps, or is it potholes? Let me see. Also got some traffic in and out of the downtown Agutnia area. You'll see that at Marine Corps Drive. You'll also see it at the intersection of 1 and 8. And 4 and 7, if you know which roads I'm talking about. 8, 10, and 16 running a little bit clear right now out in front of the airport, in front of the car rental place and the other intersection. Things are slowing down in both directions. Expect a little bit of a delay getting onto Marine Corps Drive from there. And also expect some delays getting from Route 3 onto Marine Corps Drive. Once you're past that, everything should be all right. That is right now traffic here in The Point.
The sky's the limit with Bank Pacific's secure MyCloud banking. You can access your account 24/7 with your smartphone, your computer, your iPad, or any other tablet. You can pay bills, set up alerts, check your balances, wire transfer money. It's never been easier. Enroll online or come on in and see one of our friendly staff. Digital Life, Digital Solutions. Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
Legend. That's what he's talking about. I got a WhatsApp in the middle of the night. It's one of the first things that greeted me as I woke up this morning from Dr. Vince Akimoto. So I thought he was going to get me something about blue pills, but as it turns out, he said, we've got a great Father's Day story coming up about a dad who took his kid out to the Field of Dreams all of those years ago, and now a third contribution to the great baseball legend family of the Paynes. And so Noah Payne is in the studio. Good morning, Noah.
Morning.
Good to have you here.
Yes, sir.
Who's this guy? Who you bring with you?
That's my pop.
That's your that's your old man. That's Bill Payne. How you doing?
Pretty good. More people probably here recognize me more as Billy Payne because Bill Payne was everybody, the old man.
The old man. The old man. So, now, is it you think about some dynasties in baseball here on Guam, and it's not just the Paynes. I mean, there have been other guys that knocking around baseball fields since the 60s, and they just stayed in it, right?
Oh, absolutely. You got the Farnhams, you got the Alcantaras. You got a lot of those guys. The Hatticks, of course. they were probably maybe half a generation after, because I know John and those guys were all just younger than my dad, and not to leave him out, but I'm married to LaVoice Tiger Thomas's daughter, and so the baseball traits don't fall far from the tree.
No,
here.
that's what the old man always said. The coconut doesn't fall very far from the tree, and so Noah's here in the studio. Now you're going to need to back me up because you know how Vince gets kind of windy in his messages here. What's the big deal that's going on with you in your life, Noah?
Well, I just graduated college. Finished playing 4 years of college baseball at a small Christian university called Howard Payne. I mean, out of high school, didn't really expect to play college baseball, and then this opportunity presented itself.
It's tricky, isn't it? I mean, we see that with a lot of sports here on Guam, where you might be the guy, you know, the go-to guy, the basketball team, or the volleyball team, or the tennis team, or whatever, and then you get into the States and you start looking around at the kids that you're playing against in college. You go, "Wow, these guys are good." You might be the top guy on Guam, but you kind of disappear into the ranks when you get to the States. What did you do there to be able to make sure that you could still start?
Well, I mean, I didn't start out a starter. You have to work your way up from the top.
Sure.
Just putting my head down, not really paying attention to what everybody else is doing or what everybody else is saying. Because I'm not the biggest guy, I'm not the strongest guy, but I just worked hard and.
I was going to say, there's some big corn-fed dudes that you're playing.
No doubt, especially in Texas. Holy cow! But yeah.
Okay, so you kind of just buckle into the job and knuckle down on it, and then see what happens. Did you put together a decent record?
My senior year, we set a school record for wins in a season. We ended up being conference champions of the regular season. So I think that was the first time we've done it in maybe like 20 years.
Do you now get a chance? I mean, was there anybody looking at you? Was there anybody in the stands scouting, saying, "A kid with the hair, I like that one. maybe we ought to get him on our team"?
I know a Red Sox scout came to a game. There was a White Sox scout that was there, but I never got any calls back or anything like that.
Yeah.
But just the opportunity to know that somebody was there watching was.
Oh, the opportunity to play.
Yeah, I was beyond grateful.
Was out there, and so now that you're back on Guam, now that you graduated from the college, you got the degree, and you're back on. What do you want to do with that?
Well, I got a degree in engineering science, and last summer I came and I lived with my grandfather, working for a construction management company, doing intern and stuff like that. But it was a very fun experience, learning the way everybody works on Guam and some of the different companies and different places.
Well, how do people work here? Being a radio guy, I don't know. I'm kind of insulated from all of that. What's the day-to-day job like here?
Just not the people how they work here on Guam, but like just the construction environment here on Guam, because somebody's always building something.
Well, it's tricky. But our biggest problem, I think, ends up being labor issues. At the beginning of this, the conversation was about Father's Day, and we got Father's Days coming up, and there I think is no greater reward for a dad than to watch his son appreciate and fall in love with the same things that you fall in love with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And from the beginning, it was either you're going to learn to swing a golf club like your grandpa, who had transitioned from baseball to golf, or you want to go play baseball. And he loved swinging a bat and catching a ball, and did so well that it just took off.
He got to do it in college.
Yes, he did. He did. Now, speaking of Father's Day, he's got a sister who's who's going to be a senior in high school back in Texas, and last year her team, and this is the largest classification in Texas, 6A schools where the population is 3,000 or greater for the school. They won their 6A state championships for softball. So she's a state champion, and she's already committed to Texas A&M Kingsville on a softball scholarship. So she's going to be playing softball.
Wow.
Collegiately as well. So
she's the better athlete.
Really?
If we're being for real.
How did that happen?
Chasing
looking at me. That's what it was.
Well, must be a younger sister, obviously. Yes, so I mean, somebody that she looks up to, and so that was the goal for her in mind. So again, a great Father's Day story. We got two kids, and one that you don't have to pay as much for in college, right? Because she got the ride.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's exactly right. I think it was just trying to chase and outplay him. Out hit him, out throw him, outplay him, and we would do drills and stuff in the backyard and take them out to the field and hit balls to them all the time. Sit out in our cul-de-sac, and we were reminiscing about that. Just popping tennis balls up in the air, and it's dusk, and you can barely see them. And he's like, "How many, Dad?" I would say thousands and thousands. So, I mean, that's just their passion for the game.
Getting back to the college thing, we're there because I know in some schools and at some places where they look at it at the roster of talent that they've got in front of them, and then they start looking at different qualifications. So I mean, an Asian Pacific Islander, was that a check mark for somebody and said, okay, we need to get at least one of those guys on our team somehow? Did that help kind of usher you in?
I thought it was up until they brought a Hawaiian kid on our team this past year.
Yeah. So obviously it wasn't something like that, because then there were two of you.
Yeah.
So what do you get to do with that now? You're back home, and maybe you're going to get a job if you're looking for somebody with some engineering background and a degree in it. I got the guy here is Noah Payne in the studio, and you can reach him through me or Vince Akimoto, and he can start working for your engineering firm. But do you want to play ball out here?
I actually played in the GML last summer.
You did play in the GML.
Yeah. I was on the Autospot Orioles.
Okay. All right, we were following what was going on in the GML, and then they canned Mark Colby, and so Mark's not sending us information on who's playing and where we are. What was the name of the last place team? When the Rooks, was it the Rooks? Yeah, I think it was. Are they still in last place?
I'm not too sure. I'm not following.
You're not following the GML either. Is the league still on?
I believe it is.
They're still playing right now.
Okay, I have just no idea. Like I said, we're not getting any emails from the league, and I think that turns into a little bit of a problem. So, if we can devote a little bit of time talking about the politics of GML here on Guam from the player standpoint, what's it like?
Growing up, I played maybe 1 or 2 years, and then the MFL started, and I said, "See you later, Dad. I'd rather hit people than hit a ball." So my dad still kind of stayed with it for a little bit.
That's
and
funny.
and then of course
my brother played in the MFL for a while too. You know my brother Dave.
Yes.
Has another big hitter, big boy.
And my father-in-law, LaVoice Thomas, when he had come back from Colorado, and when he was working out there with Continental, and he moved back over here, and the Continental still had a team and said, "Hey, LaVoice, can you still throw?"
Yeah.
And he still did it into his 40s. So that was quite an inspiration for these guys, both my son Noah and my daughter Bailey, that, hey, Grandpa took it pretty far, and, he kind of looked away from the politics of it all, because there's bottom line, there's a bunch of these guys that really love the game.
Sure.
And that's the passion. So,
but outside of baseball, when you talk about baseball passion, and I don't think there's any kid that's ever grown up on Guam that didn't pick up a record book and learn about your Ty Cobbs and your Babe Ruths and all of the great names from the past. I mean, there's great history there. But what is it that drives the passion for baseball players on Guam?
I think it's an easy pastime, and there's a migration to slow pitch softball, and something that if your government agency doesn't already have a team,
right?
You're going to get involved somehow, some way. And growing up, your parents are taking you to it too, anyways.
Yeah.
So you're going to end up throwing the ball and do it. I mean, that's how I grew up learning it, and we still live in Texas, and living in Texas, it was like, let's find a place where he can get excited about doing this and having fun. So.
Well, and it's an interesting transition. We still do T-ball here, so little kids are still getting out there, and it seems to me that our little league is still just as strong. Although what annoyed me to pieces, and I think you're old enough to remember when they used to have a Guam team that could go and compete directly in Williamsport.
Yes,
I remember.
Yeah,
I think I was a little younger than the actual Little League team, but I remember watching them on TV, and I was like, wow, dude, that's
those
so
are Guam
cool.
guys,
Yeah.
and we keep getting beat by the Canadians or something like that. But at least we were there, and then they changed up the rules and stuff. So we had to compete more we had to compete amongst other Asian countries with large huge populations of people that they can choose from to get their teams out there. But I always thought the Guam played pretty well against those teams once they got to the States. And of course we still have. I mean, that was the little league guys, but we've got the older little league guys that are going out there and competing as well.
Yeah, and some of the byproducts of that are kids like Trey Santos, who I think he came out of collegiate ball and has signed a minor league contract.
There's guys in the league, like in farm systems right now, doing some cool things that are from Guam.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you got to have the mindset like the Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And if there's no facilities, there's no place to have the kids come, congregate, have structured practices, be able to be taught not just a game, but understanding discipline, understanding rote and repetition, understanding structure. You're going to have kids just walking around doing nothing, getting in trouble. And, you build the fields, they will come.
Who coached you?
My dad.
besides the old man, there had to be other guys out there that said, you know what, you can go this far with your old man, but stick with me, and might be able to take you a little bit further.
We've been living in Houston, Texas, for about 18 years now, since 2001.
Welcome home.
And I think that what has been a blessing is we managed to connect with the right people. So when he was 9 years old,
that's vital, isn't it?
That's what I was going to say. That's one of the greatest things about this game is just the people I've crossed paths with and the friendships I've made and the connections that I have now because of it. They'll last me a lifetime.
Was there ever a point where you said, I just, I'm glad to be here, but I'm not sure if I can compete at this high level for as long as you did? And were there times where you were kind of disappointed because you weren't maybe winning every time and hitting it out of the park every single time like some of the other guys did? But I mean, that at the end, you learn from that, don't you?
Yeah. It's a game of failure. In baseball, you doing good 3 times out of 10 is considered good. So you're failing majority of the time, and you're having to learn from those failures and not let those take you over and determine how you're going to do the next time you go up to bat or the next time you go out into the field.
Yeah. Now, for yourself, were there things that you thought you did better? I mean, were you better in the field or were you better at the plate?
Well, I started.
Or were you better in the head? Because there's a mental game that gets played there, isn't there? Yeah.
There's times when I would go out onto the field and I flip a switch and nobody talk to me. I'm in the zone. Leave me alone. Or then there's other times you go out and you're having fun with your friends, just playing a game.
Right.
You're still doing good. You're still playing the same game. But
did you get to travel a lot?
Oh yeah.
Did it put you on a bus and make you drive all over Texas?
Actually, this past season, our season opener was in Hawaii, and we played Hawaiian Pacific University.
Oh, that must have sucked.
Yeah, that was a trip.
Oh, that was terrible. They made us go to Hawaii and play baseball out there.
No, it was awesome. Just seeing some of my Texas buddies go out to the islands because they've never been out there. They've never experienced something like that.
Right. Were you able to bridge the gap? I mean, Hawaii isn't Guam, but I mean, were you able to go, okay, this is the way island people do it, okay? So I'm going to teach you how to do this so we don't get hit from the local boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some of that, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Sure. The friendships and relationships. I mean, that's another great thing about being in a team.
Probably the coolest thing that we did while we were out there is I got me and 4 of my other buddies. We rented mopeds and we drove around the island. Yeah. We look like a little biker gang just driving around.
But on mopeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, biker gang / mopeds. There's people from the Hogs that are listening to that going, well, I don't know, son. You want to ride a real bike? Come on over here and give that a shot.
All of them have flowing blonde hair that they all bleached just before they went on the trip. So
I was going to say, I don't know too many kids with that color hair. That was the thing?
Yeah. I got a bunch of my buddies on my team and we all bleached our hair just for fun.
Yeah, why not?
But it ended up working out because we had a good season. So
why not? I can't imagine how much fun that's going to. How much longer are you guys going to be here on Guam?
I actually leave tomorrow.
Oh, do you?
I have a job interview coming up
back in the States. Yeah. Engineering job.
Yeah, with a construction company.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, get some really solid experience, and then come back. Now, are there baseball games that you can play there now? I mean, besides the transition to the slower, more sedate, more let's drink some beer, slow pitch softball is are there adult leagues that you can participate in?
Yeah, they have Sunday leagues and stuff like that going on back in like the Houston area.
Can you do that? I mean, because you've already been playing for serious college ball here. You sure you're going to be able to downshift into Sunday leagues?
It'll take some adjusting. But I think I can do it.
See what happens. What about you?
He's got a lot of his buddies that some have already graduated and some that are still playing, and they'll go and play those pickup leagues, and they still bring it. They saw that type of baseball. It may not be at.
They still take it serious.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're still going.
Dude, when I was, we were talking about old school stuff. I used to play with the Guam Cable TV softball team, and I always thought, well, I'm the younger guy. I should be able to get some hustle on. I was playing with guys like Big Cal Palacios, who you'll remember, and some other dudes. That it was amazing to me at their age how much they were able to hustle. And Big Cal used to play first base, and he knew that I was just a lousy guy in the catcher position. So if it started to heat up over at home plate, he'd come over, push me out of the way, and then finish the point. It was just absolutely great to watch guys like that do it, even if it is the slower slow pitch softball. Fun stuff. So are you going back home too? As well?
I leave the morning of the 20th, so it's a few more days to spend some time with my dad and just kind of hang out.
So I'm trying to figure out. So it's a Father's Day trip for both of you, but you're going to be gone before Father's Day, right? So the rest of it's going to be with you and the old man.
That's right.
All
That's
right.
right. And he had to get back because he had that job interview already lined up. So
nothing for you.
No, matter of fact, I was going
to say, what are you doing back there?
I'm on the back end of it where I'm trying to count the years to when I can finally say, I'm done. I can retire. I still work for the federal government. I work for Social Security, and was able to transition from moving back there with the airlines. 9/11 happens. Find the right place, the right time.
Yeah,
and
you got that Fed lottery ticket.
Well, no.
Going for
It was, in all honesty, it was the Chamorro connection. Because I had. You get laid off, try to go get a job. They said, hey, we need your Social Security card. Go to the nearest office. First lady that calls you is Miss Lulu Han, and she says...
No way.
Yeah, I didn't even know who she was, but I looked. She opened her window. I said, she's got to be Chamorro. And I'm holding a ticket number waiting to be called. She calls my number and says...
Well, that's magic.
Oh, it is. What's even more magic, she says... Boy, are you from Sinania? I know your mom and I know your dad. Then you're scared.
This in Texas?
Yes, in Texas, of all places, in Houston. 4 million people.
Yeah,
and of all
and
places.
the random Social Security with you holding the random ticket.
Yeah, and her husband was our band teacher at Augusta Johnston.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Good. Yeah, all her nephews played football and baseball.
Because
with.
I was going to ask you what it's like being because I've had the opportunity to live off island in the past. Didn't like it. Came home and stayed here in the radio business doing this. But the question I have is how tough is it to pick up and move your family not just across the ocean but halfway across the country.
Yeah. It was pretty tough, but we knew that we had to do it. It was we were at a point where they were still young, not quite getting into school yet, and if we were going to make that transition, it was a promise I made to my wife, and I'm not going to break that promise.
Yeah.
And I said, let's get them closer to her folks too, and we went ahead and did that, and it paid off. And I got to say that the environment that we fell into, and being connected to some really great people. Meeting more Chamorros, meeting more friends, because the kids not only played league ball.
Oh, there's plenty of that.
They actually transitioned into travel select ball, where we were going to
across the country.
Yeah, well, I mean, opportunities that you don't have here. I mean, it's that much tougher to get yourself into that kind of position between here and there.
And then migrating to learning how the whole college recruitment process works, and being able to go to tournament and showcase events where you're playing in front of college coaches, and I actually go and help with the recruiting and talk to the college coaches. And my daughter's on a team right now of about 12 girls, and I think all but 3 are committed to college. We're committed. 9 of them are.
They're going to go to college. They just haven't committed to one yet.
No. They're signed.
They signed.
They signed their official letters of intent, and they're in the fall. They will be at those colleges playing softball. So
you ever think about coming home? I mean, permanently. I mean, just, okay, I've done my time. I've got, punched the retirement clock over at Social Security.
That's probably when it's going to happen, because, there's just so much going on. And we want to make sure that we're there and facilitating the right things for our kids.
So it's not just a question of the retirement, though. I mean, there were reasons beyond economics maybe that you left. Are there things that you'd like to see improved here in the next, I don't know, minute or so that we've got left on the air? Are there things you're driving around going, man, it didn't used to be like this?
Yeah, there are some. But I think, with the right leadership and the right mindset, and you get enough of the constituents that are out there voicing their opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and, doing it in the only two places you can, at the register and in the ballot box.
That's right.
So if they're doing their duty as true constituents and they're doing it with the right mindset and being intelligent about what they're doing and not going by heart and feelings, but thinking about the generations that are coming up behind them.
Yep.
That's the way you're going to make the difference.
Senator Payne, ladies and gentlemen. On the rig. Did you hear that? Oh, God. There it is. Thank God he saved that question for last. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Noah, thanks for coming out and spending some time. And happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you, Vince Akimoto, for getting everything set up. The radio station, KUSG. Gutnia, Ray Gibson Show continues after Fox News next.
For action. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Comedian Jon Stewart taking members of Congress to task for failing to make sure the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund does not run out of money. Stewart appeared before a House subcommittee today.
It's what gave a reeling nation a solid foundation to stand back upon, to remind us of why this country is great, of why this country is worth fighting for, and you are ignoring them.
Stewart's been a longtime advocate for 9/11 first responders. The bill before the House would ensure the fund can pay benefits for the next 70 years. If they fail to act, it'll run out of money next year. He's expected to appear before senators tomorrow. The House Judiciary Committee voting along party lines to be able to take former White House counsel Don McGahn and Attorney General William Barr to court to enforce subpoenas related to the Russia investigation.
We will move as quickly as possible to go to court against Don McGahn, the president's former counsel, and any subsequent witnesses who disobey a committee subpoena. We are going to move quickly to court for access to grand jury material in the Mueller report.
Committee Chair Jerry Nadler, who is holding off on a criminal contempt charge against Barr after reaching a deal with the Justice Department. President Trump used to stop at a renewable energy plant in Iowa to announce an expansion in ethanol sales.
At the Council Bluffs plant, President Trump announced the availability of E15 ethanol made from corn year-round. The fuel had been banned for summer sales because of its effect on air quality. The president said making E15 available will help struggling farmers.
Fox's Gernal Scott, former Vice President Joe Biden, also in Iowa today as the Democratic frontrunner continues to shore up support for his campaign. A federal judge in Chicago ruling plans to build former President Obama's $500 million presidential center can move forward. This is Fox News.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it? I'll take a book club. Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, The Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
President Trump sounding optimistic about his efforts to force North Korea to end its nuclear weapons program.
President Trump, prior to departing on Marine One, telling reporters that he received what he called a beautiful letter yesterday from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and expressing optimism about reaching a verifiable nuclear deal with North Korea.
I think North Korea has tremendous potential, and the one that feels that more than anybody is Kim Jong-un. He gets it.
The president said Kim has thus far far kept his promises not to test long-range ballistic missiles or conduct underground nuclear tests. He's not ruled out another meeting with Kim. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo before a Senate panel today talking about fighting drug trafficking.
It does take a level of commitment, consistent resources, consistent priorities inside of the U.S. bureaucracy, inside the United States government.
The panel looking at ways the State Department can counter narcotics efforts can be strengthened. Former Central Park 5 prosecutor Linda Fairstein condemning how she's portrayed in the Netflix series When They See Us, writing that the program is full of distortions and falsehoods. Directed by Ava DuVernay, the film tells of the wrongful conviction of 5 black and Latino teenagers for the 1989 assault on a female jogger in Central Park in New York City. Fairstein headed Manhattan's sex crimes unit at the time and has long been criticized for her role in the suspect's interrogation. Fallout from the Netflix show has led to her being dropped by her book publisher. In an op-ed today in the Wall Street Journal, Fairstein said the film's falsehoods included that the suspects were held without food. Netflix has declined comment. Wall Street at the close. Stocks lost some early momentum, finishing with their first loss in 6 days. The Dow lost 14. The Nasdaq dropped less than a point. The S&P lost a point. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
It's 5 minutes after 9 o'clock in the morning on the Ray Gibson Show here on 93.3 The Point, brought to you by all kinds of friends of mine, the guys over at King's Restaurant. Always open, always local, and they've got that incredible breakfast value menu. You got to take a look at it. You can get a full-blown menu, and it's got fried rice on it for like $6. Yeah. Good morning in Harmon, like I said, always open. Guys over at American President Lines, Charlie and the boys are shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. And need you to give them a telephone call a little bit later on. Look them up there on the web and find out how we can get a consultation going so they can take a look at the roof and figure out how many panels they can put on that. And then take a look at the house to see where they're going to put the batteries. Solar and battery power. Forget about it. Your lights are just always going to be on. And, of course, Cars Plus up in Mighty, where they've got the performance days going on right now. You're going to love the feel behind the wheel of a Challenger or what's the other car they've got there? There's Challenger and the... That's amazing. The Charger, like cell phone charger. That's how I'm going to remember it from now on. And they have it in the exact right color for you. Ladies, it will be the ultimate accessory. Take a look at it. Test drive today at Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Ray Gibson Show, bringing you closer to the action. This is The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
How's your trash? How's your trash collection? Still okay? The GSWA, the Guam version of the solid waste receiver, has had the keys to the dump. For how long's it been now? A couple of months? And near as I can tell, there haven't been any major issues with picking up the trash over at my house. The first couple of weeks after they got it, I noticed that they were picking it up late, but still it was before sunrise when the truck came by to get everything. So I guess that part is working all right. I keep getting the bill. So it looks like the administrative function seems to be working. They had a get-together over at the courthouse not that long ago. In fact, yesterday, the lady over at the court, Frances Tadinko Gatewood, chief judge there, sent out an order here. The receiver, on behalf of GSWA, as the contracting party, is hereby authorized to sign the contract upon completion of negotiations and And the receiver shall assign the Cell 3 construction contract to GSWA upon complete termination of the receivership or upon further order of the court. Furthermore, the receiver, in consultation with GSWA, shall negotiate construction management services with GHD Incorporated under the contract recently assigned by the receiver to GSWA for the construction of Cell 3. So it looks like everything, at least in the eyes of the court, seems to be moving in the right direction where it comes to the construction of this site. This, of course, comes after the word that the legislature had very, very quickly approved the loan for, what is it, $30 million that they need for cell number 3. It's basically $30 million hole in the ground, ladies and gentlemen. But that's a situation that we've got until we come up with some better way of dealing with the trash that we've got here. I was reading up on someplace. Where is it that has decided that they are? I got to look it up. I was reading it on Facebook yesterday, and I want to say it is either an entire island or a country or a state somewhere that has said no, period, to single-use plastics. Straws and coffee stirrers and containers of one kind or another, and they've just said we're not going to be doing this anymore. So if somebody wants, if you get something made out of plastic, you will have bought it for that specific purpose. Packaging and plastic bags and things like that, they're just no longer going to allow. And the question that I have at the end of reading the article is, how the heck are they going to enforce something like that? At some point, we're going to have to look at everything that comes in a container that has got some kind of plastic in it, some kind of plastic packaging. I'm a nut for these crackers that come out of the Philippines. I can't remember the name of it right now off the top of my head. They're really good. You know what it is? What's that? Use the microphone.
Skyflakes.
Skyflakes. I love Skyflakes.
Many flavors.
You know what? I like just generic old Skyflakes.
Try the onion with chive.
I could do something like that because the store near the house has a whole bunch of the Skyflakes flavors. But most of the time, I just fix myself a tuna sandwich or not a tuna sandwich. I'll fix it like I'm making a sandwich, but not with the bread. I'll use the Skyflakes, and that's how I put the tuna inside my mouth. And the Skyflakes, you can buy them individually, the 3 cracker packet, or you can buy a plastic container with multiples of the 3 cracker packets. And then the question is, what do you do with the package when it's done? And I've already got 3 or 4 of these rectangular Skyflakes cracker boxes at the house. I don't need any more, but I feel bad throwing this big chunk of plastic away because I know that nothing's ever going to happen to it.
No, it'd be fine. Whenever you start growing your own pot, you can use those plastic bins to grow in.
What do you think I'm using the other ones for? Oh. I mean, what do you think? Yes, that's a good idea, Michael. I think I'll pass that along to my neighbors who I believe are growing their own personal marijuana for their own personal consumption and recreation.
Very appreciative.
I'll go. Here's my Skyflakes thing. But so at some point in the future, if we were to go down that road, I'm not suggesting that we do, because God help us, there's already 2 or 3 people over at the legislature that I'm sure have got that in their sights. My favorite one is, though, they've got it in their sights and will enact it, I don't know, sometime in the next 10 years, as opposed to dealing with it right now. The question is at some point, do we go back to all of the containers that come in and say, well, we've got the single-use Skyflakes plastic box that we're going to have to send back to somebody. We're not going to allow the importation of such a thing. And that's not what's going to... What I suspect may happen in those cases is the ban will work like this. We've got these containers that are made of plastic, and they're going to be coming in, and what we're going to do is we're going to put those in the same deal that we have with tires. So you pay for the recycling, you pay for the pickup at the front end. So they'll say, you want to get the Skyflakes container? I'm not saying it's going to happen with Skyflakes. They're going to say that container is going to cost you $0.10 extra, $1 extra, because you have to pay for its recycling at the consumer end of it. And it sounds terrible, but maybe that might end up being the fairest way of doing it, as long as there are monies that come through from those transactions that actually go to support recycling of those little plastic boxes that goodies come in. like the tires. I mean, it was supposed to have this recycling revolving fund, but if you look in the jungles, and it's easier to see now since we've had a whole bunch of grass fires, you see a lot of tires out there because nobody knows how to get rid of those things. They're supposed to be taken out when you replace the tires, but there's a lot of guys that do that, just on the side of the road, and they're not really paying attention to anything. 9:13 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. We were having, I thought, an interesting conversation. Yeah, the 4 generations before us had no vision in regards to trash. Yeah, we did. We stick it at ORDOT. That was the answer. Until ORDOT became its own mountain, which you can see flying in and out of the island. You can see driving around the island that there is this massive, clearly man-made structure out in the ORDOT Selenpago area. And in the course of my lifetime, we used to drive down. Old-timers will remember you drive down into the ORDOT dump. It was a valley once upon a time, and I want to say by the time I got to be college age, it was about level with the land, and now it's, as many people referred to it, Mount ORDOT from once upon a time. So obviously something had to be done, but that was the way we looked at trash back in the old days. Out of mind, out of sight. It becomes a bigger problem now. And if you take a look, if you start looking at websites, environmental websites, and stories about plastic, there are places where they're shipping them back to where they came from. You send this to us from China, and we'll put it in a container and send it right back to you where it's going to sit in the ducks forever. Anyway, I don't know what the solution is other than burning the stuff. I don't know about recycling. I believe Nike has gotten into a program where they're going to recycle 10 million pounds of plastic trash and make them into shoes, believe it or not. That's also a big story floating around on the web. Who's playing around on Facebook Live? I got Felice Tan Valencia there. Jess Limpiaco. Lady D is online. Ron and Cindy De La Rosa. Sheila Marie. And folks that remember radio on Guam in the middle of the 1980s will remember her voice. She used to do the afternoon show at K-Stereo, and she had a voice like wet leather. I hope you still do. Bill Cruz online. I got Joe Cruz. Kate Baltazar. Now Dodge is there. I see Scott Nelson and Alfredo Mendoza there. There's Nate Horn, David Evans, Carlos Barreto, Frank Blas, Connie Marie, Tuncap Mayu, and Renee Lau have been hanging out with us this morning. Beck Salazar and Yuka Hechinova is online. Kutwal Singh is there. What is it? Well, among the things that we were talking about this morning, I thought a very interesting conversation with Dave Del Sola, who is the director of the Department of Labor here on Guam, sent out a press release in the last 24 hours basically putting the F&B community and restaurant community on notice. The minimum wage on Guam by statute is $8.25 per hour. Period. And it is something that if you got an employee, they punch a clock, that's the straight wage that they are going to get. And you go, but wait a second, that employee is a waiter in the restaurant, waitress in the bar. So I don't have to pay them $8.25 an hour. I can give them $4 an hour, and the rest of it they can hustle. They can take out of the tip jar, and we'll make them hold that way. According to Dave Del Solis read and the Attorney General's read on the law is no, it does not work like that. You pay them $8.25. You can still give them tips. They can still collect the tips if you want, and good for them, right? But you got to make it $8.25, and there are going to be businesses on Guam that go, oh, really? When did they change that? Actually, it wasn't that long ago that they changed it. So you might be forgiven if a little bit if you're unaware of the law. But guess what? Look it up. Have your HR people, if you've got them, take a look at it as well and figure out what it is that you're going to do, because your employees are going to read about this public notice and this press release, and they will go, but I ain't making $8.25 an hour. And if they bring it up to you, you have to make a change and make them whole or get rid of them. I don't think you'll be able to get rid of them just because they wanted to be paid, the legal wages. I'm pretty sure the Department of Labor would look down on that. But that's the deal. But the other part of it is, what the difference between a service charge and a tip, and it was kind of an eye opener for me. because I didn't realize that. I kind of looked at the service charge as one of those things where in order to maintain a standard of quality of service at restaurants, they would charge you a service charge, and then at the end of the night, they'd put all of the money in the till and then divide it up to everybody. And it doesn't necessarily work like that. Service charges belong to the employer. They belong to the company. And if they want to share it with their employees, they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to. Which means that if you get a 10% service charge that's already in the bill, and you go, okay, that means that I only have to pay, put $5 more, 5% more as a tip to Mike because he did such great service. It's possible that the service charge may not get to Mike, and it's possible that that 5% that you left in on the till for Mike might be shared among the other employees.
Yeah, the fact is these companies, the restaurants in particular, started adding the service charge because of the higher minimum wages.
No, they've been doing that for a long time. That one for sure.
Well, yeah, but minimum wages have been going
time.
up for 20 years. So, we talk about a long time, and that's, back in the day, they were getting paid what, when minimum wage was $3.35 an hour. Then you would work at a restaurant, you would be making about 85 cents an hour plus tips. And so, yeah, but there were no service charges back then. But
right.
Once they had to start paying these people, that's when these restaurants really started doing it in large numbers. So you started seeing a lot more of it.
Well, I remember the first time, the bloody revolution around here when they first came out with the concept of service charges. There were a lot of businesses that lost business as a result of that, and I can tell you more than one or two places that I just stopped going to because I didn't believe that it was right for them to assume that I was going to be 10% happy with the services, and so that, my friends, is the case. Just pointing out the fact that workers don't know the minimum wage is disturbing. Pam Duvall asking, did I talk about the break-ins at the Barragata post office? I didn't think I needed to, honestly, because it was all over the WhatsApps. Picture that Pam herself had sent me of a car with a busted window at the Barragata post office, and the warning is for the last couple of weeks that place had been targeted. And it's true, I guess, based on the pictures that I'm seeing. Look, guys, the long and short here is that we're not safe from break-ins. We're not safe from vandals. We're not safe from drug dealers. And we're not safe from druggies. So you do what you got to do. I mean, I feel uncomfortable. I went someplace last night, and I was unable to park right in front of the window. I wanted to park right in front of the window. I had to park in 20 feet. And it isn't because I'm lazy to walk. I'm a marathon runner. I'm not lazy like that. But I wanted to be able to park the car someplace where I could see the car. Because there's all these break-ins, and now you're breaking over at the post office. I don't know if they've got any surveillance cameras. I hope that they do. But if they don't, what are you going to do? Still got to go check your mail, right? And I know what you're thinking. Well, I'll leave one of the kids in the car. Don't leave one of the kids in the car. Get mugged by the thugs that we've got out there. Cops are out there doing their thing. People out there doing their thing. And I keep going back over the line here. Who is out there fighting for all of us? Getting a lot of parties, a lot of proclamations getting done. There's going to be town hall meetings. Ooh, that'll put the fear of God into everybody. You better stop your crime life or we'll have town halls. Because that's the solution. I'd talked with Josh Tenorio, the current governor of Guam, acting governor of Guam this morning, and he and I, to what degree he could affect a change like the one that you and I were talking about, where we take Chief Ignacio and put him in charge of virtually every uniform, badge-wearing, gun-toting man and woman on Guam, and turn them basically into cops. We deputize everybody. Because I'm of the opinion that maybe we don't need as many uniforms at the airport. Maybe we don't need as many uniforms over at the Port Authority of Guam and guys, the park police. We got park rangers around here. Okay, we'll put them in a squad car. That's your job now, until this crisis is over. But what good is it arresting a bunch of people if they keep getting let go over at the courthouse? Or if you start getting drug dealers. I love this story in today's Guam Daily Post. There is a drug dealer, and we've actually there's a conviction on this guy, drug dealer. crystal methamphetamine slinger around here. And was over at the district court. Vincent Lujan went for his sentence hearing yesterday. And day before, it was yesterday. And the judge said, you're going in for 6 years. Should have been a 10-year sentence. Should have been a 10-year sentence, but they got him in there for only 6. And I like this. He's a meth addict, but, it's his first offense. Right? It was my first time dealing death dope on Guam. I didn't know that it was against the law to deal crystal methamphetamine. I didn't get the memo. So can I just go in for less time? So what should have been a 10-year sentence on the guy comes back only 6 years. His credibility, Fred Black, Attorney Fred Black, argued Lujan never provided the complete information to the government, so he's scratching his head, going, "How'd this guy earn himself 4 years less of a sentence?" His credibility at this stage is in doubt. He shouldn't just apologize to his family. Fortunately, this was stopped, but he has to be sentenced as a liar, not just to somebody who would distribute the poison to his family, but to the whole island. Thank you, Fred. Keep that up. I wish you could have convinced the judge to throw all 10 years at the guy, because that, in my mind, would have sent a better signal to the death drug dealing community that we've got here.
But Ray, it was an interesting story.
Yep.
He actually found the methamphetamine on the side of the street, and he was on his way to the police department to turn it in to the authorities to get the scourge off the streets. And then a buddy walked up and said, "Hey, man, you got some meth?" And he said, "I just happen to have some here."
Hey, you know what?
And
Got it right here in my pocket, bro.
before you know it, word got out, and he had sold it all, and then there he was.
I don't know. Maybe there was a better story behind it. I'm trying to think if this was the guy. Is this guy the one that was asking for a little bit of time so he could spend it with his family? Is this the same guy? I got to check. All of the druggy cases kind of run together in my head. Where we got people that are supposed to be reporting to prison and telling the judge, yeah, you know what? Can we do this after Father's Day? Because, I'm a drug dealer, but, I'm also world's greatest dad. Got the coffee cup. I put my meth in it every morning.
I didn't have my son standing next to me while I was selling it. He was back in the car waiting for me.
Unbelievable stuff here. And there's a few other those stories. A couple of them that I haven't really had a chance to talk about this morning is the just incredible amount of money. Hi, Kelly Rodriguez. Nice to see you there. This is a good time for Kelly Rodriguez to chime in, because she's somebody that would know about how all of this spend is going to get done. There are $403 million in the defense bill. The House Armed Services Committee, the markup of the 2020 NDAA includes $403 million that they're going to be spending on Guam. That's a big chunk of change. And it looks like they're kind of all build-up stuff. Joint Region Mariana's Bachelor Enlisted Headquarters are going to spend $164 million on something like that. This place look like the Dusitani when they're done for $164 million. The Joint Region Marines Mariana's Machine Gun Range. This is $91 million. Now, the range that I go to, chances are pretty good that the people that own that property that they've turned into a range might have spent, I don't know, $600 or $700 on it. We're going to excavate from here to there, and we'll make it so that there's a berm at the end of this. We'll cut 2 or 3 of these into the hills up in Petey, and there's a place where a guy stands around and collects $15, right? After he takes a look at your firearms permit, and all of the range gear. It's all like 2x4 and bits of 4x8 sheets of plywood up there. Just something to put your gun and ammo on and go pew 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 pew. Can you imagine, guys? Can you imagine my gun-toting 2A reciting guys? Can you imagine what a $91 million firing range is going to look like? A machine gun firing range. Can you imagine? It's air Kelly? It's air conditioned, right? Tell me that it's air conditioned for $91 million. Machine gun firing range with carrier equipment, right? What else are they spending money on? Munitions storage, $65 million for a warehouse there. Mariana's EOD compound facilities, there's another $61 million, almost $62 million. They're going to get spent up on that. X-ray wharf refueling facility, $19.2 million, and an unspecified project for USMC Guam planning and design. Unspecified project is going to be $2 million. Now,
Where's James Howard?
Huh?
Oh, it's unspecified, bro. They're up to something.
That's their
alien tracking station.
Yeah, alien tracking something, or it's going to be something, someplace where the aliens can land. Like a little auto port for the aliens. They go in there,
slick,
refuel their nuclear rods or something like that.
They don't know we have James Howard.
$403 million going to be spent on build-up activities here on Guam, and all you need to do is try to figure out. You call the guys over at PTAC. I'm serious. Find Boris Hertzlet and see if Boris or somebody can tell you how your business might be among those to enjoy this spend. $403 million, and somebody around here is going to be getting a paycheck that is derived from that kind of spend. So see what you got. Yeah, see, and no, it's not just James. Pam Duvall also says sounds like a UFO base, but it'd be marine UFOs because this build-up stuff, right? Kelly Rodriguez probably just giggly about this conversation wherever she happens to be right now. 9:28 in the morning, and there's a few other stories that I think are I haven't talked about this. Primarily because I haven't been able to get a hold of Congressman Mike Sinicolas. But are you anybody besides? Are you paying attention to this back and forth now between it's the legislature and Adelup versus Mike Sinicolas, to put it the same way that Bob Klitsky will do it this afternoon, right? Kelly says, I am enjoying it. Well, that's nice. Tell me about your UFO facilities there, Kelly. Anyway, so you got Congressman Mike Sinicolas, who is working through an administrative resolution for the World War II loyalty recognition payouts, about $10,000 apiece, and there's a bunch of people who have already been approved for the process, but because of a glitch in the former congressional administration, those funds are hung up in Washington, D.C. So he's working on an administrative solution, but when we say administrative, we recognize that in that case it literally means act of Congress. Not known to work very quickly in Congress. So the folks over at Adelup and over at the legislature say, hi, proclamation time. Let's figure out a way to use some money that we've got around here to pay these World War II loyal subjects of the United States. And Michael is coming back and forth and saying, don't do that. I've got it over here. And there's no guarantee that you guys are going to be paying the right people. And I said, well, we'll ask for a list. And now Mike is saying, you're going to be waiting in vain for names of the war claims recipients. They can give you numbers, and they might be able to give you narratives, but they won't be able to give you names. So how will you for sure know, Guam, that you're paying the right people and that we're not going to pay them twice?
Yeah, I admire the administration locally. They're trying to do something to get folks some money that they deserve to have. But it's not Guam's job to pay that debt. That is a United States debt, and we've got to let them pay
actually,
it.
not the way it turned out. I hear what you're saying, and there was a time where we would look at that and say, yes, this is something that the federal government needs to do to make everybody whole here, the survivors of the Second World War, and they forgave the Japanese the obligation to do that so long ago. But in this case, even the money that is hung up in the Treasury, that's our money. That's Section 30 money, and it's funds that would have come to Guam anyway. It's not like they're going to be dipping into the Treasury and coming up with new dough specifically for World War II loyalty recognition survivors. There was never a funding mechanism behind that, and the workaround, the compromise was when Congresswoman Madeline Bradalio said, well, I want to get something going, so we'll just make it so that it comes out of our Section 30. So we're basically paying ourselves.
Okay. What I think is even a bigger travesty, and I don't know where this $10,000 number came from, but it sounds like it came up a long, long time ago, and the reparations are probably well worth about 3 times that now.
Oh, I'm sure of it. There was a scale they looked at depending on the nature of just how badly you were molested by the Japanese occupying forces. There's a certain amount that they set aside for forced marches, a certain amount that they set aside for forced labor camps. Like the rice camps and things like that.
When were those numbers generated? Do you remember?
No, there's there have been so many forays into all of this, and if you said 20 years ago we'll make the payment $10,000, people would have gone, yeah, that's some serious sweet money.
Sure, that's what
it's 2019, 10 grand ain't that much.
That's what I'm
getting. And considering some of the bills and et cetera that people have had to deal with, some of them stemming from injuries that they sustained during the Second World War, some of it just from living a long time. $10,000, yeah. That's what it cost me the last time I went to GMH. Anyway, 9:33 in the morning. We got more to talk about. You're welcome to chime in on the Facebook Live. Love to hear your comments and commentary from there. If you want to call, you're welcome to 888-8255. Let me give you another phone number. 888-8888 is the telephone number over at iConnect, which is a building right behind us. And they're in the telecom industry, but their idea is, not everybody needs the biggest, baddest, super bandwidth in the whole wide world. If all you want to do is make a phone call, send a text message, maybe WhatsApp your buddy or something like that. So why pay for all of that? Check them out with the plans that they've got. Again, 888-8888.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Beneventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
What if some of the things you were told and have always believed about work aren't really true? I'm Jerry Robertson. At 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we'll be looking again at Marcus Buckingham's 9 Lies About Work.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Mentioned earlier that Felice Tan Valencia is online on the Facebook Live, and that's nice. She works over at Beyond the Box. Father's Day is coming up, and you need to go to her work. I tell you right now. People might be going, well, what does Dad want for Father's Day? He wants something from Beyond the Box. What do they have there that you're going to like? And it's okay. It's a family company. I'm allowed to talk about them. Beyond the Box has they've got this. It's a bone in induction, right? It's a headset that Bluetooths to your phone. Right, so it works with the same technology that you'd use to pair it with the car stereo or pair it with the house stereo if you have that, or pair with another wireless set. But the cool thing about this is nothing goes in your ears. It rests right about here. Is the set that I have? It rests right about here on kind of the high jawbone, high cheekbone, and that is connected to the bones in your ear. You following along? And so when it vibrates on the machine in the headset, it vibrates onto the bones in your eye cheekbones, and that causes the vibration in your ear bones. And it is the same practically as listening to the sound coming through the ear and striking all of the parts of the ear that make it so that you can hear.
And a really cool part about it is you can now have a truthful conversation when you go, dude, I hear music. And they'll go, dude, it's just in your head.
It is exactly in your head. There's a little bit of sound that comes from it, and it has to do with frequencies that your bones are going to be able to pick up, and so it augments. I want to say that there's a little bit more of a augmentation for better frequency response, one way or the other. But the great thing about this, okay, so you run it, right? And I've told you that a million times. The cool thing about it is you can run with these headphones, but you can still hear traffic. You can still hear that there's a dog chasing you. You can still hear the machete-wielding nutcases. If that happens, you'll still be able to hear them and respond accordingly because your ears are open. You can and it's not so loud that it drowns the world out. So technically, and I was at the beach the other day having a great conversation with a guy while I was listening to my Boston tunes. Right. So it's very, very cool technology, and the prices will surprise you just on that alone. And now you might be one of those guys. Yeah, I want more of a of a wireless in my ear thing. They've got that there for sure. And then they've got other gizmos that you can Bluetooth and basically play the house, which I like. And by the way, they're also iPhones and Apple computers and all of that. So down in Tumon, not too far away from the gun grabbing incident, is where you'll find Beyond the Box. And so wish Felice a happy birthday, and that's where you're going to be shopping for Father's Day. Now, for those of you that are just unbelievably, oh my God, I can't believe how cheap you are, looking to get away with Father's Day without spending a whole lot of money, but I'll try to do this so it hits you in the feels. What do almost half of dads want more than anything else for Father's Day? It costs nothing more than a few minutes of your time, and the answer is a phone call. 47% of all of the dads surveyed said that's what they want most on their special day. Just a phone call from the kids. I love you, Dad. And he'll come back and say, I love you too. That's all the dad is going to want to hear. That's the whole thing. And it won't take hardly any of your time. And I'll say this, and like I said, I'm not trying to get you in the feels, but I lost my dad last year, and I would kill for the opportunity to call him one more time and say, Happy Father's Day to you, old man. Don't wait until it's too late. Remember that old song, Mike and the Mechanics, The Living Years? Oh, I'm going to get all misty just talking about it. Find that song, play it, and then give your old man. It doesn't have to be on Father's Day, too, because you can just say, I heard the guy on the radio, and it's Wednesday on Guam, and he was talking about Happy Father's Day, so pick up the phone and give him a ring and say, Happy Father's Day to you. If you're lucky, it's not a long-distance call. If you're very, very lucky, it might be just call him up. He's at work now. Call him up and say Happy Father's Day to you. I love you, Papa. And he'll say I love you back. And that's all there is to that. But if he's at work, there's another piece of research came out. A study found that twice as many men as women doze off on company time. 26% of men, 13% of women have admitted to catching some Z's while at work.
Well, sorry.
Nothing? Nothing. The correct response is if you ever get caught sleeping at work, what you do is you open your eyes and say, Amen.
Yeah.
That's how you get out of trouble with the boss. 9:39 in the morning. Who is it? What is it? The other thing that dads want for Father's Day? Andre Bainham is online. He says beer.
Peace and quiet. There's something to be said for that.
It doesn't have to be Father's Day to enjoy a beer. Richard Clark's online, and Juan Benitez, if I haven't mentioned it, is among the other high-powered guys that checks out the Facebook Live of The Point. Juan Carlos Benitez is online.
Of course, if any of my kids call me on the phone and go, hey, Dad, I love you, I'm going to be like, what do you want?
Wait, who's this again? I haven't talked to you since the last time that you wanted the dad ATM. In 20 minutes, it's going to end up being 10 o'clock in the morning. And Bob Klitzky's going to be on the radio at, what time's he come in? 4 o'clock in the afternoon? And you're going to be hanging out. Tomorrow, I think we'll have a couple of other voices in here. Daryl Taggarty, I hope, is going to be coming in and getting some training. It's not really much by way of training that you've got to do here as much as just watch how I deal with the fireworks.
Yeah, and really, I want to sit down with Daryl after the show and just have a kind of sit down with him and let him know how we're going to progress on a day-to-day basis as well. Because we got to have a game
we should
plan.
do that.
Yeah.
And one of these days, you and I ought to do that as well. Just
that
figure.
Nice.
I don't know. It's kind of true what we're saying is when we started the program, it was just one of those things. All right, what do we want to do? I said, I want to be able to just finish at 10. That's all I need to be able to do.
The whole conversation was over 2 beers at the beach bar.
Exactly. We'll start at 6 and go until 10. Okay, what kind of format are we looking for? I don't know. I don't really care at this point. Just come up with something and we'll see how it plays. Lady D says, I always give power tools. Does anybody remember how we used to do Father's Day on Guam before Home Depot? And the little cards that you can buy from Home Depot. There was a point, I want to say, between my birthday, Father's Day, and Christmas. I could count on literally hundreds of dollars worth of gift cards from people because it's the easiest thing in the world to do. I don't know what Raymond needs. I'm sure it's something that you either plug in or put gasoline in. And I don't know what that is or what the best one is. So the smart money is going to a Home Depot and getting the card. I don't know that they did that at Benson. I don't know that they did that at the old Ace Hardware where you could buy like a gift certificate for somebody. Certainly Home Depot made it easier for everybody to do. And that's how it's done now with the power tools. You don't need to give me a power tool. Just give me the little Home Depot thing. 9:42 in the morning. Pam talking about on Mother's Day we say dads take the kids. It's Mother's Day. On Father's Day we say take the kids. It's Father's Day. Spend some time with the old man. I used to also like just kind of hanging out on the couch and watching television is the thing. It's not so much by way of television anymore. If you think about it, it's more of let's see what we are going to be streaming here today. And I'm going to say that my streaming here today is going to be weird because I've watched everything. My time with Game of Thrones obviously is done. All of the Good Omen, I've watched all 6 episodes of the Good Omen on Amazon Prime. That's finished now. And the 4 episodes or so of Chernobyl, that's all done. So I'm going to be on the hunt for something else to try to keep me occupied on the Netflix. Are you binging on anything these days?
Not really. I've just been kind of bouncing around stuff. I haven't really found anything to lock into since some of the other shows ended. So
Gotcha. All right, and as I'm looking over the table of contents today, in a weird kind of scenario here, I've managed to talk about just about everything that was on my table of contents. Mikey Sinikolas and him versus Adelup over and the legislature. I don't know how that's going to end up because it seems to me that he's the guy that's got access to the information that these guys are going to be looking for. And he says if they're asking of it of the federal government, they're not the right entity to do it, and they're waiting in vain for those names to pay the war reparations. Build up money. Obviously, spent a couple of minutes talking about that. Drug dealer getting 6 out of 10 years worth of a sentence. Come on, man. Can we not? Let's do all of it. Everything in. Well, there's certain considerations. Let's consider the community, please. Can we get to a point where, in case of a tie, the loser is not the people of Guam, the hardworking folks that just trying to get through without having their cars broken into at the post office, and then the question that comes to us. Director Cho is there. Handmaid's Tale, she says. I should be watching on the thing. I don't know. I watched the first episode of that, and I felt like this is going to, at some point, going to get preachy and is going to be, I don't know, how do I want to say this, critical of the patriarchy, of the male-dominated patriarchy, and it was going to get preachy on me, and I thought, you know what, maybe I just go and watch something else so I don't have to put up with that. I don't like getting preached to in the television shows that I watch.
Your toxic masculinity is showing.
Toxic masculinity, that's what it was. So I don't know. I hear a lot about it, from my social justice warrior friends. And I do have one or two that put up with me and my Cro-Magnon mentality, but I just don't know. Somebody will need to sit me down with that show and see what's happening. So where was I going? There was something else that I wanted to talk about here, and I can't. See, I got Hannah. You distracted me from, and it was going to be brilliant. But now I can't remember what it was. 9:45 in the morning. Let me just take a scan now of some of the paperwork that I've got in front of me. This comes from Daphne Shimizu, who is the director of the Department of Revenue and Taxation. And I mentioned it on the air a few weeks ago while it was still just a thing over at the legislature, and it amazed me at how many people knew what this technology was and really wanted it back. It is these bingo card minding machines. Now, I have not been in a bingo parlor in 25, 26 years, something like that. It just ain't my thing. I probably should go. You take a look at some of the jackpots that you could win or participate in winning if you got a good blackout, if you got an X game going or something like that. Maybe I should go in there. But recently they made a change. and got rid of the bingo card minding machines. Now, Senator Chalahi did some legislation, put those things back in there. So DRT is announcing that after further consultation with the Attorney General's office, they will now be accepting applications for the licensing of bingo card minding machines. Apps will only be accepted from individuals or organizations that are licensed to do business on Guam. All required documents for obtaining a business license to rent or lease bingo card minding machines must be submitted along with your application. If you want information, they give a phone number, but I don't know if anybody's actually going to answer it over at DRT, but I'll give it to you just the same. 635-1829, signed Daphne Mansipit Shimizu, director of DRT. So they're coming back with these bingo card minding machines. And believe it or not, even after we had the conversation on the radio, I'm still kind of fuzzy on what it is exactly that they do. But it was one of those things that apparently senior citizens absolutely needed in order for them to be able to play the games, simply because they could not, in real time keep trying. Because you get these people, they go in there and buy a dozen cards and play a dozen games at a time, and they weren't capable of keeping track with all of the numbers that were called on all of the different cards that they got. So these bingo card minding machines were apparently vital to the process. So they're coming back, and if you want to make it so that you are one of those that puts it back, then all you need to do is go by there and spend some time with Reverend Tax, fill out the applications, and they'll get it done. One of the other things that you'll see as you scan through some of the media, and you'll hear more about it, and I don't back up here. There's a guy coming to Guam Liberation Weekend. His name is Rich, I think it's Guzzi, and Rich Guzzi is a comedian. But he falls into a certain subset of comedian. He's a hypnosis comedian.
Oh, those are funny guys. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can you be hypnotized?
Generally speaking, no, because my mind's just too busy. I can't just stop. You know what I mean? As soon as I get calmed down, that's why I can't sleep at night. Lay down there, and as soon as I get ready, then another thought, then another thought.
Yeah. And so he's coming to Guam. Like I said, we'll do interviews and ticket giveaways and things like that. You'll see our logo on the ads, because it's Patrick Lujan. It's GSPN. He's the guy that's bringing him to Guam, and he's going up to Saipan as well. For those of you that are watching the Facebook Live up there, or maybe you're going to be up there and for that weekend as well. Anyway, so the guy's coming to Guam is going to be a hypnosis comedian. Not the first to ever come to Guam, but I have been to those hypnosis shows. And I got to tell you, they are among the funniest things that you will ever see in your life, primarily because of the unpredictable nature of the show. It's not just there's a guy up there telling hypnotist jokes. There's a guy up there that will pull people from the audience. And on Guam, it will be people that we know that will go up on the stage, some of whom will be hypnotized, some of whom cannot be hypnotized. And I tell you what, at those shows, I've always wanted to go up to see if I could be among those that are hypnotized, but I don't think I can. I don't for exactly, why? Because I'm smart. That's why. That's what I want to say. But I don't know that I can be hypnotized for the same reason that you bring up. Yeah. And that is because there's just always something twirling up here. There is always, and I'm not going to say there's something nagging at me or there's, some kind of anxiety that I'm trying to overcome. It's just that I'm always thinking. I'm always pondering. I go from one subject to another, and I don't know that I can turn it off. I mean, even like running. Is one of my great problem-solving options. So if I've got something in my head, put on some sneakers and my running tights and go hit the road. And usually within about a half hour, 40 minutes of a route, I will have come up with an answer to something or the answer to something else that was nagging at me. So I'm not sure that I'm one of those guys. Plus, years ago, when in my smoking days, when I was a smoker, there was a lady here on Guam that was in the business of we'll help you quit smoking through hypnosis. And I went to her, and I think it was $50 or something like that at the time. And she went through this, you're feeling, counting backwards, and you're feeling light, and you're feeling lighter, and you're feeling relaxed, and da-da-da-da. And I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. And went to a place called the Boardroom after that. And everybody said, "What'd you do?" I said, "Well, I went to a hypnotist and I quit smoking." And before the night was over, I'd bought another pack of cigarettes and bought on the way home a carton of cigarettes, because you could do that. It was so cheap back in those days, and wanted to go back and get my $50 back, because obviously it didn't take. She did, when we talked about it, because we're still old friends, when we talked about it, she said, "Yeah, the problem is I probably should have told you is don't go out drinking right after this session. Maybe you should go home and try to begin that process of being a non-smoker." But that's just it's the way it worked out. Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Dave Evans says, "I've been hypnotized by my wife for 25 years. David, absolutely agree. She is an enchanting woman, bewitching woman, and don't lose the string on that one. And it's all right to be hypnotized by her. 9:52 in the morning. Let me finish up the program after these.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Experience the Take Care difference. Take Care members can count on accessing a high-quality, credentialed network of on-island providers, including the convenient one-stop FHP Health Center and Urgent Care, access to an extensive off-island network of providers, and the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. You can count on Take Care to deliver comprehensive, accredited insurance coverage and quality health care when and where you need it. Take Care. Our island, your health plan. Learn more at takecareasia.com.
Ken LG says, "Watch The Expanse on Amazon." Maybe I'll write that down. Is it not? It's not going to be one of those lecture-y things, right? Because I don't want to be scolded for being a white straight male by programs that I'm paying to watch. If you know what I mean. So I don't want to watch anything that's going to wag their finger at me about the environment or about being part of the patriarchy or any of those kinds of things. Just entertain me, please. You don't need to enlighten me on the problems of my gender and my age. A couple of things. If you want for sheer entertainment, though, I think when we're done here, you might want to flip on the legislative channel. They're not actually in session right now, but according to what I'm told, it started at 9. The Committee on Environment, Revenue and Taxation and Procurement conducting an informational hearing at the legislature, and the information that they are seeking would come from the Department of Revenue and Taxation, and they would be asking questions there about the collection plan and efforts, enforcement of bed and breakfasts and short-term rentals, pending rules and regulations, their technology needs, human resources status and those needs, insurance licenses update, the impact of tax cuts, and the Jobs Act of 2017, which everybody says there's going to be the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2019. Maybe Trump going to be working on something as they lead up to the upcoming election. Military buildup, associated revenues, technical research and appeals branch process and purpose. Those are things that they're going to be talking about over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. What's missing here? Where does it say tax refund? It doesn't say anything about tax refunds and ways to get those things out a little bit faster. Although I will suggest, because somebody was asking earlier about tax refunds when I had Josh on the phone, wanted me to hammer Josh about getting tax refunds out faster. I got to tell you, they seem to be moving pretty quick now that they are moving. I mean, got $40 million out, and they are at February the 1st, I believe. And $6 million is in the mail today. I mean, right now, they've put the envelopes and they've signed all the checks, and there's $6 million worth of tax refunds that should be at the post office or in your mailbox right now. So they are working on those things. Would it be possible to do it faster? Yeah. How? Ask Ken. Ken LG will tell you how they can get it done faster, but nobody likes he didn't like the way they wanted to do it back then. Is you have the money already there, right? So when it comes time for the tax returns to go out, and you've got a refund waiting for you, and all of the other 160,000 people, or probably 80,000 people that put tax returns in, All of them might be anticipating some kind of revenue. So if we had about $100 million just sitting in an account somewhere waiting for all of these checks to get printed, then we'd be able to just, on the same day, send out all of the checks, all of the tax refunds to everybody. But they tried that in Eddie Calvo's administration. You might remember, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now, they were floating the idea of a tax revenue anticipation note, which would allow them to do exactly that. They'd be able to get a big bucket of money and pay that back over time from collections and other payments in the government of Guam. But when it came to tax refunds, the idea was they'd be able to get them out with lightning speed. With lightning speed. The problem was that we didn't like the idea. I didn't like the idea. Certainly Ken didn't. He was on the radio every day talking about it, even before we were on the air, talking about what a lousy idea it was, simply because it was based, among other things, I think it was based on borrowing money. And there are some people that have got some real strong convictions about credit and about the use of credit. You don't always want to use it just because you have it. Otherwise, you fall into the same trap that I have been in all of my life. There's any number of credit card companies that love to send me credit cards. You know why? Because they know I'll use them. Because they know I'll get close to max on those kinds of things and then have to pay them back at their terms and at their interest rate. So maybe that's not something that we want to do around here on a going forward basis. 9:58 or so and change in the morning, and I think that is all we've got for today. There was only one other thing in the table of contents, and I'm not sure what I want to do with this information. Chuck E. Cheese has new games. Chuck E. Cheese has got my favorite game there for a long time. When they first opened Chuck E. Cheese, we were going there practically every weekend because they had pizzas and sodas, and you could sneak a beer in a cooler in the car, right? They had the Jurassic Park game where you sit in it and it's like riding a Jeep and it's got guns and you can shoot dinosaurs. Yeah, it was fun. But apparently they've got one now that is based on the game Halo, which I've pretended to play once or twice on the gaming devices at the house with young Mason. And apparently they've got a Halo kind of sit-down, shoot-'em-up game at Chuck E. Cheese. Now, I'm not going to say that it's entertainment. I'm not going to say that it's information. I'm not going to say that it is news, but it is kind of interesting that they've got that. So those of you that are huge Halo fans or just want to go someplace and have, the little kid pizza and Pepsis, then that's the place to go at Chuck E. Cheese. Hey, I got to go. There's a bunch of other stuff that I probably could have gotten to, and we'll see what gets sticky on the notes for tomorrow. In the meantime, thanks so much for listening and being a part of the program. For Kevin Kerrigan and Michael Knight and Blake Watson, and the Paynes, the father and son guys that came in this morning. Thanks for being a part of that as well. If you want to share it with somebody, it should be on YouTube in just a little bit as a video on demand. And in just a couple of minutes, this program will be video on demand on Facebook Live. We're KUSG Agana. Here's Fox News.
Underway. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Federal investigators beginning the probe into yesterday's helicopter crash in New York City, which killed the pilot.
The National Transportation Safety Board is taking the lead in finding the cause of this crash. Pilot Tim McCormick died when his helicopter on a rainy day crashed on the roof of a 7th Avenue skyscraper. Air safety investigator Doug Brazee says the helicopter did not have voice or flight data recorders, but
there is instrumentation and helicopter systems that do have memory in them and the capability to record. We're searching for those.
Other factors the NTSB plans to examine include the weather and the pilot's toxicology tests. Brazee says a preliminary report should be available in about 2 weeks.
Fox's Gernal Scott in New York City. There are reports the pilot was not certified to fly by instrument, which could be a factor because of yesterday's poor conditions. President Trump and